and welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the On the Rise Media Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas, and we're joined for this very special intro, host of Buff Bombshell, Lauren Lutton. Yay!
Hi there, Giles. How are you?
I'm jolly good. How are you, dear?
I'm very good.
Right, well, okay then. Notice I didn't say your full name.
I did.
Yeah, we'll add it afterwards. You're coming up to your end of first season of Buff Bombshell. Say that again, Buff Bombshell. How do you feel?
Very grateful, obviously, and I'm very excited for the new season because we've been green-lighted for season 2.
Yay! Where's Kermit?
I don't know. I think he's in the living room.
Oh, okay. You mean, no, we're in a secret location at the moment. We're not in my house or anything.
No,
I mean, we're not that cheap.
We're not at Tiger
Towers. Yeah, so... well, I mean, you've done more than a full season because you've actually got some pre-recorded. You've got 22 episodes done now? Because you're on episode 18 at the moment. Last one was your Emma and Lauren episode 18. The one before was the Olympia figure. But I've got to say, you're doing a fantastic job with Buff Bombshell. You and Emma, what a perfect combo you two are. And it's really filled a demographic because there was no one really taking care. I mean, I do some interviews with females in the industry, different divisions. But there was no one really taking the reins on it for MD. So, yeah, we really appreciate all the work you're doing for MD. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I know Emma will be very happy to hear that too. So big shout out to her when she watches this.
Do you remember when I think you'd only met Emma twice when I even put the idea to you?
Yes. So I met her at Strength Pro Gym. I had a posing session with her because I had just finished my competition. And then I think I went over for a random training session, and that's when it all happened.
Yep.
It was very good.
Yep. You enjoy it though, don't you?
Which one, training or media?
Training or all of it.
Yes, obviously I love it.
Good. So what do you love about the industry so much?
What about bodybuilding in general?
Yeah. And you also say bodybuilding a lot, and you so some of the fans are going to say bodybuilding and bikini. Can you really? Because you say bodybuilding.
I think bikini is part of bodybuilding now. Bikini bodybuilding. That's the whole point. You have to build your body and then sculpt it down for a certain category, just like you do with other categories.
Is it really building?
Yes.
Bodybuilding. Can we term it as something else, please? Because I don't really consider, but especially some of the way some of these. I mean, what did you weigh in your show? 47 kilo, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really low.
Is that building a body or is that? It's No. I'm not saying. I'm not dissing it. I am not dissing it. I'm saying it's. I'm sorry, it sounds awful now. Sorry, bikini girls. I'm sure loads are watching, but it's. I don't know whether you can term it. I think there's a different name we can give it that's maybe not bodybuilding. I think. Do you think?
I think we should keep it within the realm of bodybuilding, but maybe we can call it bikini sculpting.
See that? I've got no problem with that. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. No, but to answer your question on what I love about the industry, I think I like the challenge of it. Because in training and with media and everything that goes alongside it, there's always something that's going to push you.
The goal setting.
And it's very tangible, especially when you train and you can realize that goal through something that's really physical. It's nice. And you can see the changes in your body. You can see it happening. It's beautiful, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's art. That's what I think. Bodybuilding is art to me.
Yeah, well, I've got an artistic background, so I'm big on that. So yeah. So okay, then tell me your favorite bodybuilding, Lauren.
Obviously, but I don't think you're gonna count this one. Angelica.
It's not a bodybuilder.
Bikini sculptor.
Okay. Oh, who's your favorite bikini sculptor and who's your favorite bodybuilder?
Okay, favorite bikini sculptor is Angelica Teixeira.
Yeah.
Obviously.
She's lovely.
Yes, she's awesome. And then my favorite bodybuilder is Ronnie Coleman.
Ronnie. Oh wow. Okay.
Not only do we share the same birth date, but we also come from an accounting background.
When is that birthday?
13th of May.
I thought it was the 15th.
No! You forgot my birthday! No.
Guilty!
I had. You said you were good at numbers earlier.
Most numbers, bodybuilders' numbers, body weights and body fat percentages, but years of contest placings. Okay. Digging myself a hole here, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, Ronnie, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I find him very cool.
You've come in and said hi to Ronnie once, haven't you?
Yes, I was very shy.
Hello. Hello, Ronnie.
I was like, hello. And he just looked, he was like, hey.
also, I'm going to completely throw you under the bus now.
Oh, God.
When you wanted to come and say hi to Chris Bumstead. And I introduced it, before we started filming, I introduced her to Chris Bumstead. And I said, Chris is one of your number one fans. And she said, oh, actually, I'm a fan of his girlfriend, Courtney. I was like, awkward. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Lauren.
Exactly. Courtney King, bikini sculptor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they were together, then they weren't together. Now they're, you know. Yeah.
Oh, they're together now, but she also won the Miss Olympia 2017.
Did she?
Wait, 2016, because Angelica was 17, 18, Issa was 19.
Oh, okay. So, okay, I didn't know that, so I should really.
You didn't know that?
No, Courtney, I know. I don't really. I have followed. Obviously, I've watched the Olympia bikinis, but not really. Actually, I had Issa Pacini. I was with next to Ron Harris, and I was doing something because I had all the I was sorting the papers and the sheets for the names and so we can do the play by play. And I actually looked down and I actually looked up. And I didn't even know she was. I know she done one at the Arnold. So she was obviously well known. I looked up and I said, she's going to win. She's going to win.
Yeah, she was the clear winner for 2019 for sure. Beautiful.
So then, what's your favourite episode of Globe Muscle ever?
Ooh.
Give me the name. Give me the number. And the minute and the time, your favourite bit.
Oh boy, that's a difficult one. Seeing as you've done so many.
Because I've never seen it. No, you have. So you do watch it, don't you? Because you come in on the live, what they call the live chat thing on the
live streams,
the MT,
premieres.
Yeah, the premieres. Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know which one is my favorite. I think I started watching MD when I was obviously like doing my prep and everything, and I was on my cardio machine for the Stairmaster for an hour, and the show is long, so you've got lots of cardio content there.
Yep.
It's hard to pick just one.
Did you watch the Nathan D'Asha interview in last episode?
I watched most of it.
What do you think?
I feel a bit sorry for Nathan.
Why?
So I don't think he should have been treated like that.
Yeah. What really? Because personally, it was the when he got the flying knee to the stomach. That was the bit that really.
I think at the end of the day, he kept his gym open, and it was his personal decision to do that, and he knew the consequences of keeping it open.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with how it was handled when he left the gym, and how he might have been, forced down on the ground, etc. I don't agree with that part of it. I think that was too far, and your police force should be trained better than that to not. Gosh, they shouldn't be able. They shouldn't do that. Let's just put it that way. It was sad. So
what was your response when you saw that video from the CCTV?
I didn't watch all of it, to be honest with you, because it was very upsetting.
It's only a minute long. You not watched it all?
I don't want to watch all of it. That's
the
really?
Thing.
I saw most of it when he was cuffed, and then from my understanding he had 2 handcuffs on, and then I saw when he was pushed down to the ground, and that was it. And I was like, I don't need to watch anything more than that. That's not what should happen. When you arrest someone or you take them, you don't do that to them. You arrest them and you put them in the car, and then you go. I
think, I don't know, part of me just thinks he should move to America, maybe.
Yes.
Because I don't know, I just, we're personally struggling with lockdown. I'm really starting to struggle now. And also, I hushed Carlim up where he told me on the way in that gyms aren't open until April.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was doing before we started filming. I said, shh, Carlim, shush.
How do you know that?
Secret sauce.
Oh.
Secret sauce.
The news.
The news.
I haven't been.
First book.
Okay, no, that's awful. So
I know.
I'm going to have to sort something out here.
Yeah. Do you know, I watched, I feel like that, you've seen that Matthew McConaughey film?
Which one?
Where he gets the HIV medication, the true story.
Uh-huh.
So I'm feeling like how he looked in that film. I'm really, he's lost all the weight and he's like, all frail and stuff. That is how I feel right now.
You do not. You're very sexy.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Bit of a head. Can you say that again, please? No, please don't.
No, but
Carly's shaking his head.
No, you look great. I just think that I must organize something for home.
Yes, yeah, because I honestly, because I started off when I was younger training in home gyms and barbells and dumbbells and but I'm really, really struggling now. Like I do cardio every day, in the in the house and everything. But I'm
It's
really,
not the same.
it's not the same, and I'm not quite. I can feel I'm not quite myself, you know. But
I think the garage is going to have to be turned into a home gym
yes,
eventually, when all of
Okay.
the stuff is removed.
yeah. How much do you get for a kidney nowadays, Carlin? Can you just Google it, please? 150 what? 150,000.
We're not doing that ever.
Well, Ronnie Coleman's
You
home
might
gym
need it.
costs $200,000.
So if you remove one, you get 50 grand change.
No, I like my body
What?
the way that it is. I'm going to keep
50?
it this way.
You said 150 grand
Yes, for one.
for one, so two is 300.
Yeah, and you got spare change if you just get 200 grand.
I don't think we need to spend 300 grand on a home gym. You need a Smith machine, a squat rack, barbells, dumbbells, a leg press.
But she wants some of the booty stuff.
Well, just bands, just go up and down the garden.
God, no. Not again.
Yes.
No. But yes, definitely the home gym is not the same. So I do think that if you have access to a gym or if you've got home equipment, just use it, do it, whatever you need to do at this time to get through it all. I am shocked if it's April.
April,
I
man.
think
I
that
was
it's just way too long.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I think a few more, a couple more weeks, and I'm really going to be climbing the walls. I think so. You know, I mean, like this is like oh God, I don't even want to think about it. You know, it's just horrible. It's horrible.
Oh,
so yeah, I mean, some people must be really struggling as well. I mean, I'm lucky because I can work from home, and you know, I can keep myself occupied. I can do cardio, and you know, so it's but for some people, it must be really, really hard.
Absolutely.
You know, really hard. You know, because well, just, it's tricky, isn't it?
yes,
Very.
absolutely.
Very tricky.
But I wonder how a lot of the athletes, aside from normal people, are busy coping with this and how they're doing training.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're heading into show season
Yep.
here in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So if that means gyms are, if that means gyms are not going to open till April, then I don't think these original shows starting in March are going to go ahead.
Oh, so the first shows in the UK are starting in March.
Tube Bros Pro, 13th of March in Wigan, as well as on the 28th, the Ben Weeder.
Okay.
And I don't think that they should go ahead if the competitors cannot train properly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's better best to postpone it, put them back.
So do I. I think, unfortunately, a lot of competition or a lot of federations have moved, especially some of the US competitions, and the IFBB Poland has moved their
Yeah.
competition dates because everyone knows just how.
Plus, you don't want a
this
show with like 20% of the numbers. It's just going to be,
Yeah.
you know, you don't want to go and be the only one in your class. It's going to be a bit shit.
Not just the only one in your class, but you don't have the support anymore because the auditorium's not going to be full with people. You know, it's
Yeah.
just a completely different atmosphere. So I think then in that case, a lot of show dates are going to be pushed back. So we've already seen it with IFBB Poland.
Yeah.
Portugal is supposed to be in July. We'll see if that goes ahead.
Oh, yeah, Portugal. Yeah, Gio
So,
Ferreira. Yeah.
We'll see if that goes ahead. And as we know, the Olympia's already been pushed back. I think that will go December. And the Arnold's been pushed to, September?
We haven't got confirmation on the Arnold Classic yet, but I think I got a feeling the Arnold's going to be September. I
Yeah.
think Athleticon will go ahead in October. I personally think they will. I don't think they're going to put it off 2 years in a row.
Okay.
And I think the Olympia will be in December. Where would you rather it be, Orlando or Vegas? You haven't been, have
I
you?
haven't been to either. So for
Oh,
me,
okay.
it's really between Disneyland and Vegas and gambling.
Oh,
Well, I think I'm lucky. So,
what? What do you mean lucky?
I'm quite good at certain games.
Oh, right. Okay. What are we talking about then? Yeah, well, yeah, I heard good things about the Orlando venue, but I don't know. I think we just got to take what we can get right now. Like we did in 2020, you know, like New York Pro was in Florida, and I just think we've just got to take what we can get at the moment, because if shows have to be moved, venues, and I think we're just used to it now. I think we're just used to it. So what else am I going to talk about?
What do you think about the Arnold and the Olympia possibly being so close together? Do you think it's going to be beneficial to the athletes, or do you think or are you upset that it's no longer in March?
The Arnold Classic and the Olympia, I've spoken to Dan Solomon. He says, look, we don't see each other as competitors. We support each other.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when they were 6 months apart, which means athletes are prepping and looking differently for that show than that show. I don't like the idea of an athlete doing one prep, doing the Arnold, staying on prep, and then doing the Olympia. To me, it kind of, but like I said, I think we're just going to have to take what we can get, because honestly, I just think, Yeah, it's a shame, really. It's a shame.
Yeah.
I'd like to have them at least, well, ideally 6 months apart, because then it's 6 months to the next one and so on. But I can't see how they won't then be kind of competing with trade stands. And I mean, I don't even know what's happening with expos. I mean, to be honest, I freaking hate expos anyway. A pain in the ass. You like them, don't you?
I love them. I think they're awesome.
Boring.
You get to meet all your favorite athletes. Okay, you have to wait in line for a little bit longer, but I think it's so much fun, you know? And when you finally get to meet that person, it's like, yay, let me take a picture with you. I mean, I have so many pictures. I cannot. I think if I was going to my first expo and all my favorite bodybuilders and whatever, people, whatever, are going to be there. Well, I don't know what you want to call them. Yeah, I mean, I've worked expos, Ronnie Coleman. I've worked with a supplement company I was with years ago. I don't know. I mean, I went to Body Power in 2019 and I just got really bad anxiety. I didn't want to be there. Is that the 2019 when you were with Phil Heath?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
How do you feel about that one?
About what?
Well, I guess about Body Power with Phil Heath.
Oh. Moving on. Yes. I'm not going to address that.
Okay.
Yep, let's move on. Yep, I'm not going to give that any power, any attention. So expos. I mean, I don't mind the Olympia Expo because it's not as busy, and it's not. You can actually get around. But I tell you what, I mean, the Arnold Classic. It's especially when you're working in media and like you've got to get to the one end of the venue, and you've got to you've got to literally wade through people. And there's been times when I've done it where I've had equipment. Like I remember I went around by myself. I had a tripod, a camcorder and a microphone. And I was literally, it was 2000, I want to say 2010, 2011. Steve Cooklow was with Evogen.
Very cool.
And I went round and I just interviewed everyone by myself. I just set them up and I grabbed someone and say, excuse me, can you make sure I'm framed up properly, please? And I interviewed Dave Henry, Steve Cooklow, Haney Rambod, Stan Efferding, and I've completely forgotten the rest. It's tricky trying to do that. Trying to work. Maybe if I was just there shopping or whatever. Like Ron Harris always ends up going off and doing a bit of shopping, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go back to the hotel and get some sleep, mate.
I was just gonna say you need to go to an expo and enjoy it. Just once
enjoy
and
it, though.
experience
I
it
don't-
like a expo fan, because it is a lot of fun.
And then people have got bags full of samples and all that bullshit,
yeah.
and I just think, ugh.
It's so fun. You get so much free stuff. Like these companies are fantastic. You go,
Free
it's
stuff.
such an experience. I loved it.
Millennials, see, they're all about the free stuff.
No, but
That's what they all want.
it's so nice.
Are you
It's
millennial?
92.
Yeah, 92.
Is that what is millennial? Millennials.
92.
No, wait, millennial. That's surely the millennial means it's from this millennia.
89 to 95, I think.
Really?
I'm not sure about
Is it? Why is it called millennial then if it's not 2000 onwards?
I don't make these names.
What did you do on the millennium? Do I want to know?
I was 8.
Oh, you. Okay. Okie dokie. I was in Cyprus at an aircraft hangar on the army base, and my dad. And I had a really bad hangover because I'd been drinking the night before heavily with my friend in Ayia Napa. And so this was December 31st, 1999. And I just remember thinking, I'm not into this at all. And my dad got a bit excited and he got up on this like garden bench that was inside this aircraft hangar. And I was like, I had to get up because he was embarrassing me.
Aww.
So I walked around. I was like, he's going to fall off there. He's going to fall off. Saw him about 10 minutes later and he's like, oh, I fell off and I hurt my back, son. And I was like, see, told you. So what were you doing? And you can't remember, 8 years old?
I think I fell asleep.
Fell asleep. You were in bed for 7:30. You were 8 years old.
I did not see that New Year in.
No. Okay. Well, I did.
I bet it was great.
Oh, how old was I? 24. And welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the On the Rise Media Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas. And we're joined all the way from sunny California, 90s bodybuilding legend, Jean Pierre Fux. Yay! Jean Pierre!
Hey, nice to see you.
Oh, mate. Do you know what? I just described you to our producer as the Rami of the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s. I mean, I even prefer the 80s, but let's talk about the 90s. You know, the 80s were definitely the golden years of bodybuilding. You know, I mean, those guys were even liking each other, you know, in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I remember, going to Golds in Venice in the 80s, and they all trained there, with the exception of Lee Haney and Rich Gaspari. That was the bomb. The 90s, the level became so high. It became a little more serious. I remember, in the 90s, locking myself in like an army camp, for the Olympia for the last 10 weeks, talking to the guys in the 80s. They couldn't understand why I don't go out and party, So,
wow.
Yeah, so I think the 80s was very, very special. But yeah, the 90s, the level exploded, I mean, when you just look at the USA Championship, where certain years, Ronnie Coleman, although not as big, but still Ronnie Coleman plays 5th, 6th, or 5th,
Yeah.
So Mott Mendenhall never got a pro card, or Rory Leidenmeyer. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy.
Edgar
But then
Fletcher,
there was
Edgar Fletcher as well, wasn't there? Edgar Fletcher didn't get his pro card.
No, it was Flex. Yeah, Flex lost against Levroni, I believe, first, and then Mott Matarazzo, and then it took him like 3 years to get the pro card of the USA.
Yeah, no, I'm saying because there was Edgar Fletcher. There was another guy that never got his pro card who was incredible.
Correct. Absolutely, yeah, that was absolutely incredible. But then there was one guy, kind of, ruining the party, the guy in England,
Yep.
So that was something else. I absolutely loved the 90s. I'm so glad I'm not a bodybuilder now. Although the guys look great. Nothing against them. But what we had back with the fans, Gold's Gym, and it was unique. It's not the same anymore. Now they're all spread all over the world, and although it would have been interesting to have social media back then. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes, yeah. Well, I think it's the thing is, I mean, those days we had multiple magazines. We had, the only way we could get to see was in the battle for the Olympias. So that was our only way of accessing you guys, Yeah,
I remember we had really 2 German-speaking magazines in whole Europe. Mm-hmm. So the guy drove 11 hours. The director or the president of the sport, he drove 11 hours to see me.
Wow.
Yeah, from Munich all the way to Lucerne. He wanted to make sure he gets those shots in, So he called me, said, "Hey, can you come to Munich?" I said, "No, I'm focusing at Olympia." Okay, I'm driving down there. It was absolutely an amazing time, absolutely.
Now, I think one of the most craziest transformations was from when you turned pro to when you did your first ever pro show, the 1996 Arnold Classic. I remember from when you won the IFBB World Amateur Championships to when you turned pro. How much muscle did you put on in that, and in what space of time?
It was a lot, but it was not as much as it looked like in the pictures, because I totally over dieted in '94 for the Miss Universe.
Oh, okay.
In '93 I went to the Miss Universe, and I prepped like for 7 months. I had this only time in my life I had a prep coach in '93. So he told me, you have to be on diet for like 7 months. And of course, 2 months later, I was in top shape, another 5 months to go.
Right.
So I got very skinny at the 93 Universe, only placed 4th, Gunther won. And I knew if I just look halfway right.
Okay.
Or was, in my opinion, now I look back and see the little difference. In my opinion, the level wasn't this high, that high personally for me. So I just went so low with my weight, that it looked then that I made this huge jump, from 94 to 96. I did put some size.
Kind of like when Ronnie went from 2002, where he over dieted for 2002 Olympia and came back in 2003. I mean, he was 40 pounds heavier, but a lot of it was kind of regain muscle, wasn't it? Not actual gain muscle. So that's what you're saying. That's what happened to you.
Possibly so. Even better example, 92, 93 Dorian.
Yes. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Dorian went in much smaller than he could have in Finland, and then made this huge jump for 93. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah. I mean, I did put a lot of muscle on it. I remember I always had this attitude. It came from one of my mentors. If you don't win the Miss Universe on very low dosages of steroids, if you're already totally worn out when you become pro, and we've seen this so many times, you have to have a lot of room there, And he gave me even certain dosages, don't take more than that
to
become a pro. And
really?
Testosterone. He said, if you take more than 500 milligrams of testosterone to become pro, you will have no chance.
Really?
That's what I did as an amateur. They were my, and that was it. And looking back, and I was plenty, So I even played the same game 2 years ago with one of my guys, Mike Cleaves. Yep. He won the North American on the exactly same, became a pro at the North American on the exact same concept. So then when I doubled that after the Mr. Universe.
Yep. That's still only a gram of test. Now, I heard, I won't say his name, but a top pro said to me once, he says, if you, like you've just said there, if you're not in the early stage of your career gaining on 500 milligram of test, then you're not training hard enough and you're not eating well. You're not taking care of the rest or other aspects. If you can't grow on that, then you need to address your training or nutrition, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And, back then we had it all too. We had the guys with 6,000-7,000 a week, and there was one very famous pro. I'm sure I will not say names here. So I drove 4 hours when I was very young to see a guest posing of his. Okay. He was a great bodybuilder in Europe, and I saw him backstage. And when I saw him, I knew if he takes 6,000-7,000, I'm already bigger, and I was a junior bodybuilder. And then this other thing is really always was in my mind. What my mentor said to me is, if you take more, it will work for a short time. But then you get into this devil's circle. Your body gets used to it. You will need those dosages. The more and more side effects will pop up. And then about 10 years in, your muscles will start tearing, he always said. They will start tearing, hitting a tennis racket. Yeah.
Well, it leaves you nowhere to go, doesn't it? Because at what point, what do you do then? Do you take more and then you just burn your receptors?
Correct. So, in that regard, I think most of us, what I know, the guys I was close with, I don't think we did anything near what the guys do today. So, but I can't be certain, but I can only, especially, at the end, I can only talk for myself. So, yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that 1996 Arnold Classic, I couldn't believe it because you had like the super freaks like the Paul Dillettes, the NASA who was just starting to kind of hit his stride around 94, 95. And then you came on, and I remember just looking at you, and I couldn't believe your proportions, and I just like the thickness of your abs, your back. I mean, it was just, as a pro debut, it was, and it was just such a, like I said, you if you'd arrived in any other era, you'd have been,
I would have had any clue what to do, how to go on stage. I did not even have a prep coach in '96.
Oh, really?
So I had no idea. No, I had no idea what to do. All I had is a page from the Sport Revue, Barry DeMay, my last week before a show. So I just followed that,
Yeah.
And it was cutting salt for many, many days, restricting water for many, many days. So, I not even looked any good on stage. I was so watery, so overblown.
In '96?
In '96 at the Arnold's, I was not near. I had a good chance to be top 3 or 4 in my first pro show. When you look at Vince Taylor was 4th, and he was already clearly on the down slope kind of his career. Sean Ray, one of the very only times he didn't look good. I could have been easily there, but I had no idea, how to dial in. So I went to this Arnold's Classic, and although I did see pros guest post, I remember. Switzerland is a country of very low confidence when it comes to athletics.
Okay.
People told me in Switzerland, oh my God, I know you won this Mr. Universe, but if you see those guys on stage, there's nothing like a guest posing. They're unbelievable, and yeah, okay, it's good you qualified. That's kind of the attitude in Switzerland. So the night before, Jim Mannion, he was like a judge, he was a head judge. And a few other guys, they came to my room, and suddenly they went around the hotel and collected people all over the place. You have to see that. That. And I was just standing in the middle of the hotel room, not knowing, am I any good? Or have you never seen anything like it, But then Wayne DeMilia came in, And he said, if you can dry out a little bit, So in my opinion, it was okay. It's really, really stopped totally the water guy. And I really didn't drink anything in 3 days and started to flatten out.
3 days with no water. 3 days with no water.
3 days. That was kind of what I read in the sport review, and if Barry DeMay say so, that is the law, so,
wow.
So it's that regard. But the good thing about the 96 Arnolds is I met Joe Weider, and he liked what he saw.
Yeah.
And then the next, I don't know if you ever heard the story of what the show the next week.
Tell us.
There was a show in San Jose.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I would have to be top 3 or top 4 if the top 3 already qualified for the Olympia. So as I flew to LA for that show, something happened in my stomach. I had a rock on the right side of my stomach.
Oh shit!
So on the airplane, I couldn't digest. I thought I'm dying. And I remember Flex Wheeler was on the airplane, and he said, "Did you take diuretic?" I said, "No, I didn't," and I really didn't.
Yeah.
I really didn't.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Oh, then you're fine." So.
Did he? Wow.
So they were waiting with me at the airport. The medical team was waiting for me. They rolled me out. So then the police wanted to talk to me. As I saw the police, I was like, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm So I went to the hotel. And it got worse and worse. Like at 2 a.m., we called the doctor.
Yeah.
And I had a total blockage, So my food didn't digest. He gave me some cold pills and said for 3 days, you can't really eat other than some juices.
Okay.
This has to dissolve and no apple juice. I remember that. I said, yeah, I can't really do that. I'm going to a show. Joe Weider's coming to the show. I have to make top 3 at that show. But every time I tried just a little bit of rices, so it started to block up again. So I stayed with the juices. And finally, about 12, 13 hours before the show, my body started to accept a little bit of rice. And sadly, I looked the best I ever looked.
Wow, got so dehydrated.
So my stupid concept, which of course didn't work, I couldn't use it. I couldn't use it because I was so sick.
Of course, yeah.
So I placed only 5th. I mean, it was Levroni won. I think Churlock looked really, really good. He beat me. He placed 4th.
Oh, Roland Sherlock.
And Roland Churlock, he was not his best there.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He only placed 4th. He placed 4th. He qualified for the Olympia. The top 3 were already qualified.
Yep.
So Joe Weider invited me to come to his office. If I can stay in LA. And he said, I want you to be at the Olympia, but I wasn't qualified. I said, I'll give you a special invitation.
Okay.
So as I looked into it, I saw that nobody ever placed in the top 10 have gotten a special invitation. So I wasn't sure, should I really do that? But I already missed the Olympia 95 because even I was qualified. In 95, I felt like I'm not good enough, and I can't miss the second year.
Jean Pierre, because you were qualified by winning the overall World Championships, weren't you? The Universe.
The overall the Universe, yes.
So you were qualified for 90. I didn't realize that. Of course, that's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I went to Atlanta. I watched the Olympia, and I knew, and I watched it. I should have done this. It could have been easily top 10 here.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really, and also he offered me a contract. I remember that.
Wow.
And he a very, very low contract. Like 24,000 a year. I had a translator. I didn't speak English. I said, "Look, in Switzerland, you cannot even eat with that."
Yeah.
It's not like here, guy. I said, "I'm sorry, I cannot sign that." Okay. I had a pretty good contract with Ultimate Nutrition.
Yeah.
So he was sad, but I went home, and then I got this phone call or fax back then from Ed Connors. If I want to come to the United States, stay in his house and prepare for the Mr. Olympia.
Oh, wow, I didn't know this.
Again, the house was fascinating. There was every room had another bodybuilder in it, and
because Ed Connors, that's someone I'd love to get on Global Muscle because he's someone he's helped Flex. It's Chris Cook, Flex Lewis. numerous. He just say, "Come and stay at my house, and I'll help you fulfill your potential." And he's a amazing guy.
Yeah, he invited me. I stayed at his house, and I remember a few weeks before the Olympia, we got this letter.
Yeah.
We're going to test we're going to do blood tests. If you take any form of diuretic, So I was planning, since I didn't use any diuretic for the Arnold's Classic, I was planning on using diuretics for the Olympia.
Sorry, none for the Arnold. You took none for the Arnold.
I didn't take no diuretics at the Arnold's Classic because I felt like I want to stay clean or anything like that.
Okay.
Me and my workout partner, we said, I might be much rounder. You don't need diuretics. It's just a mistake. And it was purely that. It had nothing to do with, wanted to be better in a sense or healthier. I just didn't feel like, and it was a huge mistake. Absolutely. So I took diuretics for San Jose.
Okay.
I took some Aldactone that week there. So it's one of the reasons probably why I look much better.
Yeah.
So I prepped for the Arnold's and for the Olympia.
Yeah. Totally
over dieted. And then again, went back to this stupid Barry DeMay manual, which
okay.
I never asked him if that was really his manual. I don't know. I just read it in the magazine.
Yeah.
And the saddest part back then is, I wasn't really into the competition so much. I loved the training. I wanted to become bigger than Dorian and all of that stuff.
You had a very, very similar structure to Dorian. I mean, your back shots. I mean, there was shots of you in the back, and people used to mistake you. I remember because people used to mistake you for Dorian Yates from the back. They did.
Yeah, but I was hardly really holding a pose. I was always breathing on stage. I was never holding my stomach in. The Olympia in '96 was my 5th show.
Yeah. I liked your 96 look. I thought your size and the size of your waist, I thought that 96 look was really, really nice. Because I saw you on the 96 British Grand Prix. I photographed you backstage at the 1997 British Grand Prix because I was reporting for Muscle Mag. Yeah. I remember, do you remember the footage that Chris Cormier posted from backstage? Did you see?
Correct.
Well, if you look at the guy in the white trousers in the background with the camera, that's me.
I will look at it. Look at it.
My face I got big D-ball cheeks. So you probably won't recognize it. And I've got hair. So so I was there. And I remember you walked out because you came out first backstage. And I remember you had your trainers on, your sneakers and your trunks. And you were just lightly pumping up and you were stretching your chest in there, some scaffolding backstage. There was like some sort of cleaning unit or something. And I remember just like, if you look in the video, you can see me just staring at you, like going, holy shit. Chris Cormier was there, and then Charles Claremont, they all came out.
I was sure big, but a total water balloon, so I was...
You're a monster, mate. You're a monster.
I was walking from country to country and just eating whatever I found and having no clue when do I stop drinking, what do I do,
Really?
Then I had those... liquid Lasix with me.
Yeah.
So an hour or two before the show, I was going to look in the mirror. I should be a little drier. Let's inject the Lasix. And then I peed a little bit. And it's just chaotic. And I remember when we at the 97 Grand Prix in Russia.
Yep.
I don't know if you know, probably nobody noticed. I couldn't flex one of my legs. I pulled my leg.
Oh, shit.
And it was swollen. So the day or two before, I went to Wayne DeMillion and I said, look, I can't compete anymore. Because, honestly, I was, when I was thinking about how I looked at the 97 Olympia, I could really cleaned up at the tour.
Yes.
So he's like, no, you stick with the tour, I feel freaking ban you, you stick with the tour. So I made it to England. He said that. But then I left. I just flew home. The second week, I didn't attend anymore. I said, whatever happens will happen,
Yeah.
So I remember that 97 and also the 96 Grand Prix. I went to England too. That was the last show of the first week.
Yeah, I was there, 3rd row.
Totally in over my head because nothing was organized, no food, no nothing. I remember I arrived at the hotel like at 5, 6 p.m. The show was, 7, 8, 9 p.m. and the show was no food. So I opened the hotel bar. There was one chocolate bar in there.
Yeah.
So that was the only food I ate like for 6 hours. So
wow.
It's sad. This is immaturity, So I remember I was listening to recently to Kevin. Kevin looked good at the European tour. He got a little smaller.
Which year are you talking about now?
Both years, 96, especially 96.
Well, 97 was when he won them all, apart from Ronnie winning the last one in Russia because of the vodka and coffee trick. You know,
Correct.
but I mean, 97 was when Kevin, I think if Kevin had brought that to the Olympia, I think Dorian and Nasser would have been in trouble because Nasser dropped to 4th, if you remember, in the British Grand Prix in 97, because he was like, some people saying he should have beat Dorian. But like Kevin was just, I mean, when he came out with a shaved head in 97 and he was just, I mean, he was absolutely peaking at that point.
Yeah, he said if he couldn't find any food, he should stop drinking and eating at all. You know,
Crazy.
When I felt like I'm so big, I have to look for everything I can find. You know, you know, otherwise I'll be too flat and I'll be this and I'll be that. You know, I think I should have listened to, I should have had his advice here. You know, it would be probably a little better.
So, I mean, I remember watching the Battle for the Olympias back in the day, and you were very close with Nasser El Sambati. So, how do you two become friends? Was it from the tours or from just? Well, how was it?
First, simply for the reason that he spoke German.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I remember at the European tour, we didn't talk at the Olympia in 96. At the European tour, we were sitting, I think, at the airport in Frankfurt. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, get me my bag over there. I said, fuck you, get your own bag, you know.
Did you?
That was the first time we talked. So he kind of found that fascinating, you know. So,
yeah.
So we started talking, and then during the year I visited him in San Diego. Mm-hmm. He came to Switzerland. I always kind of organized some guest postings for him. The guy was absolutely fascinating, and what I liked about him so much was he didn't give me anything when he came to bodybuilding. You know, I mean, he told me nothing. You know, I mean, even when I asked him questions,
wow.
You know,
I can't believe this. Crazy.
Say so dry and be so big, and he was just swaffling around and got into Spanish War, and you know, and then he knew exactly what he was doing. I thought, wow, he's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
But he knew. I'm not gonna tell this guy how to dry out, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, he gave one piece of advice in like 5 years of friendship, 4 years. He's like, maybe you should double up the provider on the last 2 weeks before the show, you know.
So that is all the advice he gave you in.
He talked about anything else other than bodybuilding, you know, anything. Right. I mean, except the rumors in the scene, you know, he was big into that kind of stuff. But what I found so fascinating about him, I mean, you could tell him, hey, what do you know about the Spanish War?
Yeah.
Then he could start to listen for 3 hours. The guy never stopped talking, you know,
wow.
about slavery. And I found that fascinating. I knew he has some kind of photographic memory or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I think he was also a little bit too smart, not for his own good.
Right.
You know, so when things didn't go right for him, there was always this crazy conspiracy, you know. And I was a little sad. And I remember at the end, we always say to each other during those nights, and we stayed up in San Diego talking about who knows what. Once, hey, buddy.
Which of your 21 cats is this, Jean Pierre? He actually has 21 cats. He told me before we started filming.
Well, I have a cat rescue. We get to that later.
Oh my God. Yeah. How are we not friends? Yeah. Cool. Come on, continue. I'm loving this, by the way. This is awesome.
We always say to each other, you know, we talked about those guys who don't get the right moment to retire, you know, who just keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
Let's be honest when we see on the other one that there's no point to it anymore. And I remember when he dropped to 15th or so at the Olympia.
2002, yeah, when he had the stuff in his shoulders and stuff. I thought that was, you could tell he was in good condition, but it was like, maybe you need to just find a new role in the industry, or maybe just stop competing, you know?
So, and I remember there was hardly a separation between shoulders and arms anymore. And, it's just kind of sad to watch him deteriorate like that. Mm. And I told him during a phone conversation, I said, hey, you think that's the time now, you know? Mm. He was so at me.
Was he? He's pissed off?
Oh, yeah, he didn't talk to me for 6 months, guy, you know? So I think that was kind of like not so, you know, he was a little bit with his conspiracies and this stuff. But, you know, that was at the end more. The guy I met was absolutely funny and fascinating, you know. So the guy could eat. I've never seen anything like it. Really? I even met my family, and at the airport in Zurich, we went to a breakfast buffet, and in front of my mother-in-law, he ate 6 apple cakes right in front of nothing.
6 of them.
She looked at him. She never seen anything like it. And then after the 6th one, he looked at her and he said, "Oh, shit, they taste like cake. I like shit." They taste like shit.
Okay.
But the guy was absolutely. And I remember in the '96 tour, there was Spain and then Germany and England.
Yeah. He was. That was the best NASA I ever saw. In fact, because Dorian, I heard, was sick, and he'd messed up on. I'd heard that he'd messed up on diuretics. And if you remember at the British Grand Prix, he nearly wasn't going to do it, and he crashed down, and he was dry and shredded. But he was very. I think he apparently dropped about 240-ish. And NASA and Dillette just got bigger, and NASA just completely dwarfed Dorian in that one. I thought Dorian was very lucky to win that.
Especially the second week when Dorian didn't come back.
Yeah.
Switzerland, Hungary, and then Russia. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. I also felt in Germany when they were standing next to each other. It's like you say, he really dwarfed them. But was not Dorian sixth week?
Yes, no, I heard he was because he looked great at Dorian looked great at the '96 German, and I think it was between the German and the British. Something happened because I remember seeing him backstage, and I was thinking, Dorian looks kind of small for Dorian. You know, it was like he wasn't what I'd seen from previous years. You know, because I'd seen Dorian compete in all the other Grand Prix, '94, '92. So I was a bit like, wow, and NASA just came out and he was bursting full and he was shredded and striated and it was so impressive. I mean, I've actually got slide photos that I took for Muscle Mag, which were used in the magazine, and I've got the pictures, and you can see like Dillette and NASA either side of Dorian, and it's like if Dorian hadn't been so good from the back and so detailed, I think he'd have lost that.
And it's amazing how he always had a relatively high fat percentage, even in shows. You know, when you seen him sitting on a chair, he was never as lean as I was.
Okay.
But he found a way to dry out with that extreme size.
Yeah.
And absolutely incredible on stage. I mean, I don't know how his back would have looked like 10, 50 pounds lighter, if that even would have made a difference. And if he still would have been this impressive, it's hard to say,
Yeah.
Since that was all the reason why he didn't win every show. Yeah. But yeah, fascinating guy. Absolutely.
Would you say the 1998 Arnold Classic was your best ever look? Because you took 4th place there, correct?
No. That was another train wreck of a show.
Oh.
I mean,
you look fantastic.
The first time in '98,
you look good.
I was kind of like, I wouldn't say it was a mental case, but I remember I went into this prep. '97 was good. I mean, again, I made a lot of mistakes with not drinking and stuff like that. I placed 7th. So you found out pretty early, mid-December, who is going to compete.
Yeah. So
I knew Max is competing and Nasser and nobody else really. I didn't take at that point Chris that serious, but turned out to be totally wrong later on. I knew I can be easily 3rd there if I just bring a halfway decent shape. Taylor wasn't really a threat anymore at that point. Mm-hmm. So as I started my prep, I found myself with zero motivation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What happened? I think I did too many diets since '94. And
you burnt out.
My body was so tired.
Yeah.
I ate massive amounts of food and still lost weight.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't go like in the preps before. I mean, I ate 6,000-7,000 calories, on a prep and still losing weight, hardly doing any cardio. And then the brain started to play tricks with me that I need to do cheat meals.
Right. So
I used to go in the morning to this breakfast buffet, eat massive on the foods, and this was 3-4 weeks before the show.
Oh, wow.
Eat massive foods and then go on the bike for 6 hours. I mean, I turned into somewhat of a sick puppy here. There's nothing to do with being a healthy athlete preparing for the show anymore.
That's very extreme. That's very extreme, isn't it? So during these times, were you sensible with your gear usage?
My gear usage?
Well, your steroid usage. Would you say you were good with it, or are you?
Yeah, I had the same 1,000 milligram of testosterone, the three parabolana a week, and about 200 or 300 of Primo or Deca. Absolutely, I didn't use a lot of stuff.
That's not a lot. No, that's not a huge amount. I've heard much. I mean, if you ask most guys, what do you think Jean Pierre Fux used in the '90s? They'd look at that and say that's a lie. It was 10 times as much, but it's just
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that was not the problem. And like I said, in off season, I added some D-ball at the beginning of the cycle, the first 3 or 4 weeks. That was not. I started to use insulin more frequent.
When did you start using that?
There was 97 in the off season for the Olympia.
Right, because that was when your stomach started to go a bit, wasn't it? 97.
Well, I needed more and more food, absolutely, and then especially I used a lot of insulin for the 98 prep for the Arnold's.
Oh, really? Okay.
So my body was a total mess. Although I was somewhat hard. Yeah. You could see my stomach started to the first time really show, besides just not focusing on stage. That happened before sometimes. My stomach was fine, you know. Yeah. The first time you started to see real issues there, and it was purely from food. You know, no abuse of GH or you know, that didn't use that much insulin at that point, you know. It was purely overeating. That was as simple as that. I remember when it comes to GH, I don't know if GH has any effect on that. Maybe it has an effect when it comes to visceral fat. Yeah. But I never took GH because it was so expensive.
Hang on, you never took GH?
No, I did take GH, but you know, it was so expensive. Yeah. When I got some pharmaceutical GH, it was $250 a day. Wow. So then we started to buy all kinds of crappy GH, like from Russia, you know. Yeah, who the hell knows what that stuff even was? And even if I took it, it was 4 units the max. Yeah. So the stomach come from that, you know, because I remember there was a book in Germany about the abuse of GH by Dr. Böker, and he put my body without a face on the front page. Oh, no. Oh, wow, you're the poster boy for GH use. Yeah, it was one of those moments I didn't focus on stage, you know, and you could see a little bit. Then I had a sports hernia on top of that. Yeah. But in 98, it started to show, you know, and then again, you know, same thing. I didn't drink water, almost no water for 3 days. And so I felt like also my glutes were almost hanging, you know, at the Arnold's 98. I don't know if it was from, although my glutes were never big to start with, maybe it was from sitting on the bike for 6 hours a day, or who the hell knows.
6 hours a day on the bike, yeah. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, so it was a total messed up prep, and I even lost the 3rd place then through not focusing on stage, because I remember each judge had to release the result. Yeah. And I had judges having me from 3rd to 8th.
Oh, God. That's quite. So, I mean, that's quite a variance, isn't it? That's a wide difference of opinion there.
I had 2 judges have me on 8, so only one was scratched. So that's why I lost the 3rd place. But it was totally from not focusing, and you know, so it was sad. Yeah. It was a sad prep, so I didn't feel it looked particularly good there.
Well, I remember looking at the pictures and thinking, "Holy shit, he looks great." But there you go. One thing I've always wanted to know in '99, the '99 Olympia, there was.
Then the '98 prep was. And then I went for the Olympia in 98. Yeah. And I was extremely suddenly motivated. I remember after the 98 Arnold's, I talked the first time to Steve Weinberger and Dorian Yates. Okay. Yes, and they were very motivated. And I was also very aware of this Arnold Classic wasn't any good, you know, and they were making me aware of that. You know, the few names who really can step into. Dorian then decided not to compete. The Olympia was supposed to be in Paris. Right. And then there was, we needed a new Olympia, you know. So,
sorry, the 98 Olympia was originally to be held in Paris, not in New York.
The 98 Olympia was originally held in Paris, but then they had this...
I didn't know this. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Doping issues at the Tour de France, where they started to arrest bicycle riders on the streets. I don't know if you remember that.
Do you know what? I'm ashamed. I don't actually know that, and I'm from Europe.
Yeah, 4 weeks before the Tour de France, the massage therapist of Festina, the bicycle team, was caught with massive amounts of growth hormones at the border into France. And then in the middle of a stage, they stopped the whole tross, and then they arrested the whole Festina team.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, I remember Michel Virenque, Alex Zülle, you know, they put them in prison. And everybody right away talking except Virenque, the French rider. He always denied they kept him in prison for a couple of...
So when did the EPO come into the cycling thing? Because that was a Lance Armstrong, wasn't it? That was kind of mid-2000s, wasn't it, the EPO thing? So I didn't realise they were caning GH as well.
Yeah, they were just cracking down on steroids in general and everything, you know. So here at the IFBB, much, you know, they didn't want to have half of the people arrested at the airport in Paris, you know.
Bloody cyclists.
they went to New York.
Yeah.
So I started prepping, and I looked my absolute best when the prep started. So one day, 10 weeks out or so, I tore something in my right calf.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't take it seriously, you know, but then my whole foot, everything turned black. So I went to the hospital, and they said, this is serious stuff. You can lose your leg, you know. So that took me, I couldn't train my legs for quite a while there, or just a little bit of extensions, you know. That was all okay. Then this whole thing with Synthol started, you know. That was the time.
I'm actually leading on to that, but yeah, continue.
So in 97, I used Synthol or some kind of form of it the first time for the Olympia, but only 3 shots.
Okay.
In the tricep.
Okay.
You know, so I had a guest posing in northern Germany, and I met this German bodybuilder. I'm not gonna say his name, with massive arms. I mean, massive, incredible arms.
I think I know you're on about. I know you're on about.
They looked not even too fake, you know.
No. He wasn't a bodybuilder, was he?
No, he was a bodybuilder.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of a strongman. I'm thinking of a strongman.
He even competed at some pro shows later on, Night of Champions, a few years later.
Okay.
So he told me about that stuff. You know, he's injecting there. Can you send me a few bottles? I remember about 4 weeks before the Olympia, I got that bottle.
Yeah.
And I injected a little bit into the biceps, just to kind of like 2 cc's into the biceps. Mm-hmm. And immediately I couldn't breathe anymore. You know, I started coughing a couple of times, and my lungs started to fill up.
It's horrible stuff, Synthol. I hate it.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of them went into the bloodstream, and it was not real Synthol. It smelled a lot higher alcohol content than Synthol has.
I remember there was a group, and they were mixing MCT oil and it was a painkiller, and they were mixing it and microwaving it, and it was just so unhygienic. It was literally MCT oil, and it'll come to me, and it was just people were selling it, and people were injecting it into their arms, and ugh.
There was a hospital in a 15-20 mile radius. Oh, so I noticed at some point that I'm in so big trouble. I can't even call an ambulance. I just run to the car, and I just drove to the hospital. Mm-hmm. You know, so in the hospital, they had a really tough time to save my life.
Wow.
Because my heart rate was 220 for several minutes.
So it got into your bloodstream.
So yes. So my lungs started to fill up with water. And I remember when they worked on me, I left my body in some weird way and looked at the scene from the outside. Mm-hmm. And I heard the doctor screaming. I heard everybody, the whole tumultuous emergency room. And I thought I died.
Okay.
You know, I thought, okay, this is it. Okay, now they're working on this dead body down there. So I woke up, and for 10 days or so, they gave me Lasix IVs just to get the water out.
Yeah,
you know,
well, that's what it's used for, isn't it?
So now here I was, you know, 3 weeks before the Olympia, laying in the hospital, and I lost weight rapidly, you know. So I could only do some little flexing exercises, you know, because I could hardly breathe. Yeah. So now here is again extreme what the mind did to me, you know. So when I got up the first time, I was so ripped like I've never seen before, you know, from all this they gave me, and you know, and enough fluids in the body, and I looked in the mirror and I thought, wow. I look like a freaking Frank Zane, Jean Pierre version, kind of, you know.
Frank Zane.
You know, so
Zane Fux.
So they're going to like that, you know.
Okay.
You know, as I had a discussion with the Milia before that don't get any bigger, blah blah blah. The European tour, you're getting too big, and I said, oh, they're going to like this. Totally stupid, you know. I mean, it's just it was just a thinner version of me on Lasix, you know.
Yeah.
So about a week before, I'm still in the hospital. 10 days before, I'm still in the hospital. And I said to the doctor, I got to go. They're crowning a new Mr. Olympia in New York. I got to go. He says, no, you still have water films constantly on the lungs, you know. I said, I'm out of here. Guy. So I signed the paperwork. I left. Yeah. I remember in the airplane, airplane to New York, I had extreme trouble. I flew to LA first, extreme trouble breathing. And I went to LA, made a video there, and it was very, very thin, you know. And then on top of being much thinner than usual, then the whole Barry DeMay system came into place again. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So as I arrived in New York, I was 25 pounds lighter than usual.
Yeah, but you say thin. I mean, let's just provide some context. What were you kind of weighing when you say thin? 240, 250?
You know, I looked really good with 270, then my shoulders were round and good. And here there was probably 250, 245, 250.
Oh, so thin, Jean Pierre. That's so thin.
It's not what I need. It's not what I needed to beat Ronnie Coleman, that's for sure.
Yes.
So, you know, so I still placed 10th to my. I didn't look any good, and I know why I placed 10th. There's a lot of people complain about that 10th place. The reason I placed 10th because in the direct comparison, I still had some good poses, you know.
Yes, no, you did. So, you did. So, what was that Olympia like? Seeing Ronnie win his first Olympia, and because he was like fourth call out in the. Because you probably would have been ahead of him in the call outs in the symmetry round, correct?
I didn't realize what's going on. I was so busy. Yeah. I remember I was standing on stage next to Ahmed Haidar. I could hardly breathe. I had a very tough time breathing.
Oh no!
And I felt the water on my lungs. I just wanted to get through this show. I have no big memories of what went on. 99 was different. I realized what's going on 99 backstage, and you know, I did not realize how good or not good he looked. And I remember to have met Sergio Oliva backstage. He told me that I look like shit, and
I told you like shit. Wow, okay.
He was obviously spot on. You know, I mean, he told his friend that that's how he looks. You know, and I saw that. That's the only memory I really have from that show, you know. And, it was crap stage. I didn't realize what's going on. And now I know everything about the show now and how Ronnie made his way up, and then he talked his fifth, fourth, third, and then very surprised that he won. But we all now know, when we look at the footage now, we all know why he won. He was clearly the best.
Yeah. So who was who did you like? Who was your favorite to train with? Because I know you trained with NASA for a little bit, or was that just a temporary thing?
No. I mean, never trained with Nasser.
Oh, really?
Just
for the cameras. That was just for the cameras for Battle for the Olympia.
When we went to the gym together in Switzerland or in San Diego, we both did things, you know. So I remember when for the videos he wanted to do back, and I, in my kind of weird mind, I thought he wants to now look at my secrets of the back, and I started to do weird stuff I usually don't do. And, you know,
is that true? Really?
I mean, we really, when it came to bodybuilding, we had no real relationship when it came to bodybuilding. It was just purely friendship on a different level, not bodybuilding.
But talking training, you were very, very strong, weren't you? Because I saw you doing a lot of isolation movements, but you were also very, very powerful.
Yes, I mean, I did powerlifting first.
Deadlifting, wasn't it?
When I was young, I mean, I was always training like a bodybuilder, but doing powerlifting. And
like Ronnie.
For the simple reason I was young,
like Ronnie.
And I could win 4 trophies, you know. So when I was 18, 19 years old, you know, you could win in each discipline and the overall. So that was very fascinating to me that I could win 4 trophies and show them at home. But I realized, of course, early in with 19, 20 that they train totally different. It's a totally different way of training, and I have to forget about that or really go into powerlifting, which I had no interest. I wanted to be a bodybuilder. Yeah, I was very, very strong. I remember I used to do every other back workout, deadlifts at the end.
Yeah, at the end.
And it was like only a couple of sets, and it was went up to 700 pounds or so. So,
that's how you build it back.
Yeah. So, that's true. But again, I didn't push the weights in a sense too heavy or anything like that. I was always aware of that. It's not that important. So, you know.
So after the 99 Olympia, you kind of you disappeared a little bit, and then in 2003 you had the photo shoot with Chris Lund with the heavy squat. Do you want to tell us about that? That was 2003, wasn't it?
Oh, that was the 99 Olympia first. That was the very, very sad experience in my life.
Oh, sorry. Right, okay. Because you tried to come back in the 2003, but their legs were damaged.
You know, the 99 Olympia, I remember I was in a very long relationship of 10 years, and that started to fall apart in 99. We moved to LA, to kind of fix the relationship. At the same time, I prepped for the Olympia.
Yeah.
And when I started that prep, you could the first time clearly, I mean, much more extreme than the overeating for the 98 Arnold's Classic. Because when you look at the 98 Olympia, there was no distension in my stomach there. It was at the Arnold's Classic, the food.
Mm-hmm.
So then I really pushed the off season, went up to 340 pounds for the 99 Olympia. And I remember I have pictures from the very first day when I started my prep.
340.
You could clearly start to see now that I have visceral fat over the organs. It started to look really, really weirdly bloated there. And that was purely food. And I was big into wheat products. I ate a lot of pasta, but the years and years of eating too much and eating all this pasta and stuff, you started to take a toll on me. And
I think
I went to the...
Jay Cutler said, I think the most dangerous thing bodybuilders can do is actually the overeating. It's nothing to do with the chemical side. The overeating that he thinks is, for many, many years, he thinks he said recently that's what can cause the most amount of health issues. I
agreed. So then I went to the USA for the 99 Olympia.
Yep.
Looked like crap, absolutely like crap. So I had this video with Nasser, which a lot of people still watch up till today.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
So Nasser, first time he seemed to talk kind of bodybuilding with me. He said to me after that photo shoot, he said, "You're not actually competing at this Olympia, huh?" I said, "Yeah, I will." He's like, "Don't."
Really?
2 or 3 weeks out, and my stomach was distended, and and I was far too heavy, and because I was more concerned about finding a house for my girlfriend. She hated LA. We were driving around all day, and again every day I changed my diet, eating less, without any concept.
Yeah.
So as I drove home, I said, okay, maybe I shouldn't compete. So I called the reader office and said, I need to talk to Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't get back to me. I heard then from his lawyer, if I don't compete, the contract is gone. Okay. But I was just about to apply for a green card. So I really, really needed that contract. Yeah. And I still don't know, looking back, what the right thing was. I literally went on stage totally out of shape.
Yeah.
And I knew it. So my girlfriend was crying down there in the crowd.
No.
So that was very, very, very sad, So absolutely. So then I went back to Palm Springs. She went back to Switzerland. And then I prepped for a show. I think it was in 2001. It was some kind of Pro Grand Prix in Rome. Mm-hmm. And hurt myself in my elbow. You could tell now stuff started to fall apart.
Yeah, bits were starting to, because you were so big for so long, training so heavy it's like Dorian's body. I mean, Dorian's career from start to finish was 7 years, from doing Night of Champions in 1990 to the last Olympia. 7 years. And you think about someone like Dexter Jackson going 21, 22 years, but training that hardcore heavy way, all that heavy eating, it's, and obviously you're very, 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 very disciplined, very dedicated athlete. Obviously the body was just starting to, the mind was too strong, wasn't it?
And a partial tear on my triceps. I got out of that show.
Yeah.
Then my green card just started to drag on and on and on. It's just that it didn't go as fast as I wanted. So I had to compete, but my heart wasn't in it anymore. There's no way at this point I believed in any way I can beat Ronnie Coleman or anything like that. And, my goal was to win an Olympia. Yeah. Not just kind of go back there and maybe if I focus for a year, plays another time 7 or 8 or 9 or. So I was kind of forced to go to this Night of Champions to keep my contract.
Yeah.
And that's when that accident happened. And it was not because of too heavy weights. It was just I wasn't focusing anymore. It just...
What happened? What happened?
Well, I went for this photo shoot for the Night of Champions, and I remember the German media was hyping this JP against Markus Rühl.
Yeah.
I trained somewhat hard, but I started dating and started a personal training business in Palm Springs, working long hours, had 5 trainers working for me. So it was really more to keep that contract. Mm. So as I went to the photo shoot, still looked somewhat decent. Probably would have placed somewhere between 5 and 10, who knows, and no chance of beating Marcus, of course, So as I went to that photo shoot, I don't know, you probably heard the story. We finished the photo shoot, and Chris called me back and said,
Chris
"Is the light,
photographer?
Yeah, the light is not good. Can you do those last 2 or 3 reps again?
Oh, yeah.
It was fairly cold in that gym. The backside was open of the gym. There's a breeze coming from the ocean, and it was quite cold there. That was about 4 or 5 minutes maybe, and then I took my clothes off and back onto the rack, and instead of warming up again,
right.
I just took the weight out, and I remember when I took the weight out,
those photos,
just standing there, it weighed like 3 tons.
Yeah. Was it it was about 7 plates, wasn't it? 6, 7 plates?
I don't know, but it was not a weight I couldn't do,
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It was just through the whole not training us heavy anymore, the non-focused, and the time passing since the last set. And as I went down, everything tore apart. And then the story that how relieved I was,
it was brutal. Was it painful because I remember when Zach Khan did his, and he said he was just felt numb. I mean, so what happened? How did it feel?
Well, it was not painful at all. I was just so happy,
Happy?
I mean, I fell down, I was on the floor, and I knew exactly what happened, step by step. It was like a slow motion, I knew left quad, right quad, everything tore. I knew it. I was laying there. I felt no pain, absolutely zero pain.
Really?
It was probably, it's just from the shock.
Yeah.
Milos put some ice on it. I even joked around. Chris talks about that occasionally. I was totally in good spirit, and I was just so relieved. Said I can now focus on my business.
Oh, that's what went through your head at that point when you just torn both your patellas, the quads completely away on the floor, 7 plates.
Sometimes you injure yourself, and then you kind of ask yourself, I hope that wasn't bad, Shit. But here I knew this is the end. I knew everything tore, it would take me a year to come back.
So it's at least it put like a definitive end to your bodybuilding career. So it meant you could then focus on your next phase of your life.
Absolutely. And then during the recovery,
that's incredible.
For a long time, I made all these plans, and I remember friends used to come to the hospital and said, why are you so happy? I said, I just came out of the war,
Yeah.
I'm happy this is over. And then Joe Weider called me in the hospital. He said, look, you have our full support, And again, they kept paying me, they gave me money and kept paying me. Mm-hmm. And the green card dragged out so long. So then a year later, I still didn't have a green card. So Joe Weider kept calling me, his lawyers, you have to go on stage. And I always asked my lawyer, I said, look, can I live without that contract,
Yeah.
He's like, no, we applied for an EB1 visa for people with special abilities,
Right.
You cannot just say, hey, I'm an illegal trainer in Palm Springs,
Yeah, that's such a dilemma though, isn't it? It's such a tough decision to be faced with.
Yeah, so I went on stage. I remember, it was very, very sad. I had no intention of going on stage, and the whole scene changed. I hardly knew anybody backstage.
Yeah.
Rick Martinez won, and I think Greg Titus was in it, and Tom Prince. I think there was 3 or 4 or 5.
So what was this 2000? What year was this? Sorry.
This is probably 2003.
Oh, 2003. Yeah, because I'm thinking of 2001 when Tom Prince got third. Yeah. So.
Yes. That was just a sad experience, and I also, in no way, just looking at those guys, I felt like I want to be part of this, or I would never like to.
Jean Pierre, you just basically come to the end, and it was really like okay, but the thing is, obviously, you were conflicted because you needed the contract money.
Well, then I went home, and then Milos contacted me.
Okay.
And we started talking, and as I started to talk to Milos, I realized that, wow, they're doing this totally different. They keep drinking water. So I remember for a very short moment, I thought, okay, maybe I should do a show with Milos. My legs started to grow a little bit again. Mm-hmm. But shortly in, about a couple of months in, it was just not there. It just felt, even with a coach now, it's 5 years too late.
Yeah.
So eventually I dropped it then,
Yeah. So what's moved on? I mean, you're saying you've got a cat sanctuary now. You're a personal trainer. You're living in you're still in Palm Springs, correct?
Yeah. So then I did the personal training for a while, but I didn't like it. I sold the company. I just wanted to do something totally different. So I started to work at the animal shelter in Palm Springs.
Wow. What year was this? What year?
2007-8.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So, but before the economy collapsed, I worked volunteer there. I saved quite a bit of money up, and I started to focus on feral cats. And I remember one day they showed me the shelter, and there was one room. They told me, "Don't go in there."
Yeah.
I said, "Why not?" Yeah, these are the undesirables, kind of. They're not adoptable.
What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? A group of. I'm trying to think of a name for a group of the outsiders or something.
So I made it my task to adopt out as many undesirable as possible.
Oh.
So I started to involve myself with a trap neuter release program. I started to trap cats all over the city, and then bring them to the doctor, and that's what I still do today. We built quite a big enclosures here, and the reason there's so many on my properties is just the ones who got stuck. The one I couldn't adopt out, or so. Yeah,
well,
I remember
I've got 3 cats, and they're just a huge part of my life, because I work from home, and see I'm here all the time, and I can't imagine life without my babies, mate. I couldn't.
But still, about 9 years ago, I got a phone call from a bodybuilding team in Bogota, Colombia.
Okay.
Team Miltonadas. So although I wasn't involved in any way into bodybuilding for a long time, they asked me if I could come down to Bogota and prep his team for amateur Olympia.
Fantastic.
So I remember I said to him, how about the last guy on earth you want to ask? I never looked good on stage. I said, I never looked good on stage. I was a good bodybuilder, but a bad competitor.
Right.
I have no idea how to dial people in, But he was like, "No, I'm your biggest fan, and you're so great, and we pay you $2,000 if you come down here and meet the team at least, And so I remember I went down to Colombia, and the girls were so pretty. I thought, okay,
I love it. Yeah.
So then I started to really get into how do you prepare for a show, how you dial in for a show. There is one book out there where guys talk about it. And I did always remember this one scene. I keep talking about it backstage at the 96 Olympia.
Yeah.
I tried to go pee. And the way I did it, I didn't pee in days or dribble a little bit, And again, I went back to the bathroom. There were stalls there, and I dribbled a little bit. There's like a half an hour for Olympia. And somebody walked in to my right and peed out. He peed like a cow, he never ended. So I thought, who the hell is that? It can't be an athlete, because we have nothing left. We don't pee, And even, so I looked over and Dorian Yates walked out.
Okay.
I thought, wow, what the hell do they do? Last time I peed was like 2.5 days ago,
Oh my God.
So I started to really get into it, and I found somewhere where he talked about don't change a lot, keep eating salt, maybe take it out the night before, keep drinking till midnight. I contacted Dave Palumbo, went to one of his seminars, and then started to work with some local athletes and the Colombians. And it became a real obsession for me, to how you dial in people perfectly. I remember I had 11 athletes at the Amateur Olympia. I took pictures of every single one every hour, the day before, the night, in the morning.
Jean Pierre, isn't it amazing to think that you were such a big name in the 90s and you actually accrued most of your knowledge about prepping years after you'd retired? That blows my mind.
Better late than never, but sad in some way.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible.
So it's an absolute obsession, how do you look at the absolute right moment, not the night before, not the day after,
Yeah.
And I still train some athletes and have a lot of fun, I mean, I'm focusing more on the cats, of course, and I focus more on online training with regular people.
Yeah.
But purely a numbers game, I mean, there's more regular people out there than bodybuilders. Okay. But I still have fun, to get occasionally a good athlete, and I still hope maybe someday I get a good guy on the Olympia stage. I very much enjoy that, so absolutely.
There's one thing I've definitely got to ask. Have you named any of your cats after bodybuilders?
Sorry, yes.
Have you named any of your cats after bodybuilders? Because if you haven't, I think you're lying. Come on, Dorian. Come on, Ronnie. Come on.
Yeah, I have this big thing with my wife about give every cat the right name.
Okay.
So, no, they're not called bodybuilder. They have to speak to me and tell me what their name is. Let's say somebody like a freaking big warrior, and then I Google, big warriors, and at some point it comes.
Jean Pierre, I've got to tell you a story because I used to work for Ronnie Coleman for his supplement company. And where I had a car, when he came to the UK for Body Power Expo, I had a car all stickered up with all Ronnie branding, and Ronnie was on the side. And I said, Ronnie, I was driving to the expo, and I said, Ronnie, I've got something to tell you. And he said, what's that? What's that, Giles? And I said, you do know I've named my 2 cats after your pre-workout, Mayo Blitz. So I've got a cat called Mayo and a cat called Blitz, brother and sister. And he just paused, and he just went, no expression. He looked at me and he went, that's dedicated.
Ronnie is such a cool guy. I remember I guest posted with him in Hawaii. We were there for several days there. It was a fitness week in Hawaii. Yeah. And he was like 1 or 2 time Mr. Olympia, 2-time Mr. Olympia. And he showed everybody his badge, his police badge.
Wow.
He was so proud of being a police officer. And I said to him, hey, you're 2-time Mr. Olympia. You never even freaking talk about it, He was a proud police officer. Yeah. I found it that's an incredible guy. And I remember he was looking for calf machines all day in different gyms. He wanted to improve his calves.
Okay.
So I remember he found a 300-pound dumbbell in World's Gym in Honolulu. So he really had to try to row that thing, and I think he hurt himself.
Did he? Oh, no.
Yeah. The guy was absolutely incredible. It's just the guy really wanted it and deserved what he got. I mean, absolutely. He was such a great guy.
It's nice to hear as well that Dorian gave you a bit of advice and a bit of him and Steve Weinberger. I think that's cool as well to hear that, because you transitioned through those 2 eras of Dorian and then the Ronnie reign. You bridged both kind of eras.
Yes, I did. Although, like I said, I wasn't really interested in the next era. So I really wanted to come. And I also remember, back then, when you just were in the top 6 of the universe for a few years in a row or so, you could make quite a good living.
Yeah.
You could do seminar tours. I remember Tom Platz, he came to Europe and did 60 seminars in 90 days.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I remember we had guys in our gyms all the time in Europe, who placed 5th at the European Championships. And, and the next era, the 2000 up there, it was, I think it changed, there was not as much money there, or except for the very, very best, so. Yeah.
Have you seen any pictures of Big Ramy when he won the Olympia the other month?
Well, I follow all of those guys, absolutely.
Okay, so what's your thoughts on Ramy? How many?
So impressed with his stamina on stage.
Yes.
It was absolutely impressive. So that's kudos to Dennis James there. So the way he into the pose first, out of the pose last, I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. I'm not a Ramy fan, when it comes to his physique, but he was the best, absolutely. I mean, he deserved to win there, guy, So you see with Brandon, it's just, the glutes, hamstrings are not big enough. And I love Brandon. I met him here in Palm Springs when he won the Ferrigno Classic.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely incredible upper body. And Phil obviously probably needed another year, and his stomach is kind of gone. So, yeah, I mean, it was absolutely deserved, but we'll see, I mean, he has to be in that kind of shape again to win. And I think he can do it. He can win a few Olympias, so...
Well,
incredible.
I'm glad to hear that you're kind of by coaching and doing, and having sort of 1 foot kind of stepping back into the industry. I'm glad to hear that prepping, the next generation, and it's you're learning all about, how to peak a body perfectly, because I've spoke to a lot of the 90s guys, and some of them, they're kind of hesitant. You could see that passion and that love for bodybuilding still there. And I spoke to Vince Taylor, and you can see that there's that love still there, but they don't know how they'll fit, in today. Yeah. And I've always said, no, please, the industry needs people like you. It needs people like you, Jean Pierre. It's, because we've lost NASA, we've lost Mike Matarazzo, and I just think like Gunter's on the outside. I can't even get hold of Gunter anymore, and I'd love to get him on and speak to him about those amazing days, because I started following the sport in 1990. I went to my first Grand Prix in 92. I went to all those Grand Prix. I saw you on stage in 96 and 97, 99, and it was, it's just an amazing time.
It would be so incredible to see how Nasser fits into this,
Yeah.
I think that many times he wouldn't be involved too much, I can imagine. There's no way he would train athletes or anything like that. He'd probably focus on real estate and, but I can be wrong.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of other aspects, what's very important to me, I look back, why did I fail? I mean, fail in a sense not to be the best. I didn't fail in not being...
Yeah, you were incredible, mate. Your physique was absolutely... Yeah,
of course,
it was memorable.
One of the main reasons I did not beat Dorian was I wasn't really a happy guy. Really? To me it was always kind of like, oh God, now I have to go guest post there. I just want to work out, and I really tried to change that attitude in my athletes. This is a very big privilege to be able to travel. People want to see you, and just. If I could now go to Brazil and here and there and just talk about bodybuilding. And back then it was all like a burden to me.
Right.
And I didn't do that with Ronnie, for example. Ronnie seemed to really, really enjoy what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it goes much deeper than that, how you treat your partner, how you represent bodybuilding at any moment in public, for example, if I hear anything of any of my athletes that they don't get along with their girlfriends, and then I won't stand for it. I will not even train. I won't.
Yeah.
And
it's about balance. It's about balance, isn't it, Jean Pierre? It's about balance.
Absolutely. And I remember I was sitting on the bar with Roland Churlock. Mm-hmm. It was probably 98 Arnold's Classic, so we are both miserable as it gets. And. I say to Roland, fuck, this diet and thing and, this and that. And I think I prefer to be in prison.
Oh, wow, you said that.
It sounds a little funny now, but it wasn't, You got to really enjoy what you're doing, and then you're not. And I have quite a few guys I noticed they go into the same direction, because when you take those steroids and over the years, it can do something to your personality too, so you have to be very, very careful to stay on top of it, or that sport will chew you up, so, and it is, although it is great to have muscle, you're not something special, you're not better than a guy who can fix a car or anything like that. And I try to kind of give that to my athletes, and then especially the next aspect, like we discussed, how to be perfect on stage, from every angle, from the second you walk in. So every video I see of myself, I could just freaking kill that guy up there.
Yeah. So if people want to get have you got a website? Have you got some way that people can connect with you and find out more about you apart from Instagram?
I got the website. Most people get me on Jean Pierre Fux or JP Fux 511 on Instagram or Facebook. I got the JeanPierreFux.com. I got the website. I answer everybody, absolutely. So yeah, it would be great, if I find the next big deal, guys. It would be great.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, Jean Pierre, this has been absolutely amazing, mate. I was thinking, I hope I get at least good 30, 40 minutes, and I hope he gives me a couple of stories, and you've just given me so much. This has been amazing, absolutely amazing.
It's like my wife says, let him talk about himself, and that time will go.
Yeah. Right, okay. Then, well, and what's the name of that cat over your shoulder there, your right shoulder? The one up, look back, up. He's been spying on us the whole time. The one up there, look.
I seen three of them. That one is Biggie Smalls.
Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, no, he's the only fat cat I have, and we don't know why. You know, he eats the same food everybody else eats, and the guy's fat. And no idea why.
Well,
you know?
I don't see him doing 6 hours of cardio a day like you, mate.
No, he's much healthier than that guy.
Right, okay. Well, I'm just give my best to your cats and your wife. And yeah, this has been absolutely amazing, Jean Pierre. I really appreciate you coming on and appreciate you giving us the time and the honesty and and all these amazing stories that the viewers and the fans are going to absolutely love to hear about, mate. Thank you so much.
It was great. Thank you, guys. And
okay.
Maybe sometime again. Huh? All right.
Lovely.
See you guys.
Thank you, Jean Pierre.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the On the Rise Media Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas. And we are joined all the way from Las Vegas, Iris, Kyle, and Hidetada Yamagishi. Yay, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. What's up, guys?
I'm really well, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. So what time is it now? Is it 10 a.m. in Las Vegas now?
Absolutely, like 10:30, yes, a.m.
10:30. Right. Okay. Well, we'll get to the big news that you're about to announce. So you have announced. First of all, Iris, obviously the big news before the Olympia was you pulling out Olympia. I mean, how are you? How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm much better. Of course, it was very devastating, and not to be able to grace that stage because I had a package that was well worthy to bring home another title. So I had to go through a lot of different tests to figure out exactly what was wrong, which we pretty much pinpoint. And I'm just getting those results because it's the COVID season, whatever you want to call it. COVID has just made everything so hard to manage, like getting appointments. So after seeing my physician and getting blood work taken care of, getting in to see the specialist to see exactly why my body shut instantly down, it was very difficult. And that just came about. I guess I just finished everything last week. But what had happened, a virus had hit my pancreas, had attacked my pancreas, shut down my insulin, and also spiked my sugar.
Yeah.
So that caused weight loss, instant weight loss, and having me be pre-diabetic. So
oh, no.
So I'm fine, thank God. But I did lose a lot of weight. But that's like premature, something that can overturn by just eating properly. But that's what took place. It instantly hit overnight.
Well, because I'm diabetic, and I found out I was feeling ill the last few weeks before my last contest in 2013, and I was and after the show, I didn't know I couldn't work out why I was losing so much weight. I was very gaunt, and so do you know what caused it yet, or was it just what happened?
They just the doc, after doing a lot of blood work, probably like 4 or 5 different lab tests, it's just some strange virus attacked me in my pancreas. So that what shut everything down. But it didn't happen the day of the Olympia. At the night before the Olympia, I was just having a real hard way. Like I was drained. It did not feel anything like me dieting or carving up. It just felt abnormal for me. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't really stand up. So I called Don Solomon and spoke to him and asked if he had a medical team on staff because I feel abnormal. I never felt that feeling before. So he sent someone to my room and they took my vital signs and everything sitting down. And once I stood up and they took my readings again, it had spiked almost like 10 points, and that's abnormal too. So I went to the medical center, got all the tests ran, and they found absolutely nothing. And again, this is something like an urgent care, so they don't have a lot of technology to do the gradual tests that you really need. So they said you're all fine, you don't have COVID, all those things were okay, but they also indicated you just don't need to be standing up. You need to rest, take the medication that we're going to prescribe to you, and then see your doctor once you get back, because it's probably more things going on, but we didn't recognize anything. Your lungs, everything, your heart, everything is registering properly. They did a scan on my midsection. Everything was right. My liver, everything was right. So they really couldn't detect anything other than they said your respiratory system is really spazzing. So I had hiccups for maybe 40 days coming into Olympia.
Wow. Whilst you were prepping for like 6 weeks when you were prepping.
Yes. Yeah, that was while I was prepping. So I just said, I can fight this out and keep going.
Yeah.
But by the time that night came, everything went crashing down.
So, Hide, when did you really notice that something was really, really, really not right here?
Well, actually, I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking it back. 2014, that was her last Olympia.
Yeah.
I mean, after that, Olympia was dismissed, but Miss Olympia was dismissed. But I remember 2014, 2013, maybe, she was same exact symptom, like had trouble breathing before show. So, like both Arnold and Olympia, I witnessed same kind of symptom. Then I saw this time, it came back, and even after this, absence of Miss Olympia, it came back. So I was kind of concerned, but probably like a 4 weeks out point, she was on point. She was, she was Iris, Iris, I remember. So,
yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't be worried, but
yeah.
A hiccup came in, and it's hard if you have hiccup all day, all night.
Yeah.
You can sleep, you can eat. So that's I guess all these just for the stress.
The thing is, you could surely, maybe it crossed your mind that maybe this was just anxiety that you were competing again, or maybe did you write it off as like, maybe I'm just more nervous than I realize about competing after 6 years,
Right, because I wanted to come in with the best package possible. So yes, my nerves was racing. I really didn't have anything to aim towards, like another athlete saying, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. It's me at the top trying to beat myself. Yeah. So all those things was registering at once.
Yeah. So, I spoke to Milos, and he said he saw you at a point before the Olympia, and he said, Iris is looking absolutely incredible. No one is beating her. What point was that? When was that?
That was like maybe the 6 week point. I was really dialing in really early.
Oh, so you were ready early, and then that's when the problem started.
Yes, body fat got really low. Things just went. It didn't really go downhill, and I didn't recognize how severe it was until the night before the Olympia.
The night
because
before?
I can handle it. I had to hook up. Yeah, It had everything took place the night before.
Yeah,
and I had to call and pull out. I said I can't do it.
How did that make you feel?
I feel horrible. Yeah. Because you just don't know. Gracing the stage, the Olympia stage, the most prestigious event in the world, and then you can't do it, and you did all these weeks of preparation. It's like devastating. It really was an emotional roller coaster for me for a month later. After the show, it took me a while. I kept telling you, oh my God, I just can't stop crying. But I'm over that, and I think it's 2021, and it's time for me to try other avenues of fitness. And, I don't really think that I might be walking that stage again, because it's a reason this took place, and it's probably time for me to recognize other areas. But I won't rule it out. But right now, health is more important, and I can share my love and inspiration in other ways,
Yeah. So how long because I remember I was at 2016. What was that gym called where all the athletes used to train? Hide, you were training there. Patrick was, remember I came over to see you guys?
City Athletic Club.
I heard that gym's shut now, isn't it?
Yes, that's where our cafe was at too. It's right. No longer open, right?
Yeah, because I had some pictures I'd taken of you at the 2010 Olympia, and I took them for bodybuilding.com. And I remember you looking at them and saying, "Please, can you send them to me?" Because I had these incredible shots. Because I remember at the 2010 Olympia, that was the first and only time I ever saw you on stage, and it was like when you saw Ronnie Coleman at his peak. It's like as soon as you walk out, you then realize why that person is so dominant as the Olympia champion. I saw you and I just couldn't. I was like, oh my God, photos do not do this woman justice. She's absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
I thought you'd like that. Yeah. No, seriously, I was like, it was like a cross. It was like a cross between Ronnie Coleman and Flex Window with the lines, the mass, the conditioning, the separation. I just thought, this woman's just, no one's going to stop, because it was the gap between first and second, like say 2003 Jay and Ronnie. It was just, there was just, you could see that for multiple reasons why you were just so far ahead of everybody else,
Thank you. Yes, it's a blessing.
So, yeah. So what was it like? Obviously you're happy the Miss Olympia's back. What was it like watching it?
Actually, I did not. Because, my mental capacity was in a different space because I wasn't able to compete. So I actually did not watch. I looked at some pictures of the girls afterwards, probably like a couple of weeks after. I sent my congratulations to the winner, Andrea, whatever her name is. Andrea Shaw, yes. I sent congratulations to her. But I would have wiped the stage if I would have been there.
Oh, fighting talk. So Hide, I mean, you haven't been on stage for a while. What's next for you, mate?
Well, I did compete with Olympia. You remember? You didn't
Did you?
even
Oh my
see.
God! Of course you did. Yeah. God, so
That's okay.
do you know what it was,
That's okay.
Hide? I wasn't there. I couldn't get there, so I was watching on the live stream.
I know. I'm joking. I mean, I was, like, it's my 10th Olympia. I mean, I did 5 open, 5 212.
Yeah.
So this was my 10th Olympian, and I did my best. And but these young guys coming up, they are big.
Yeah.
So I understand. I brought my condition, but I wasn't big enough. So I understood, and I was happy with the package I brought.
Yeah.
And I did everything I could. So I enjoyed. First time in my career, I really enjoyed the whole Olympia weekend.
Yeah.
Before that, I was competitor. So all I thought was winning. So nothing matters. Just focus on winning. And after that, I just forget about it in the next one. But this time I enjoyed, and I still, feel like I'm trying to, digest everything, the weekend. If you ask me, like past Olympia weekend, how was it? I don't even remember, okay, I look at the picture, okay, this is the physique I brought, but I don't even remember what I did in the weekend because I was so consumed by, competing.
Yeah. I remember seeing you on stage at the 2012 Dallas, and I think you took second to Sean Roden, was it?
Right. Yeah, 2012. Yes.
Yeah.
That was the year I worked with Iris. Right. And I honestly thought, I just for the first time, I made my condition right. Shredded glutes. I always wanted. Before that, even if I looking back, I feel like I was competing like 80% condition.
Yeah.
Compared to 2012, but that year I realized, oh, this is real bodybuilding. I was dying.
Yeah. No, I remember because I was there rooting because I've been filming with Rowley in Holland a few months before, so I was there kind of really rooting for Rowley, and he got fourth, and he was backstage crying. He was absolutely devastated. I remember that. It was such a because it was so good because this was kind of just. Well, it was before the kind of just as the 212 was kind of because you were around about 220 around then, weren't you? What were you around then?
Yeah, around 220. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like trying to suck it down that first time for that 212? Was that difficult?
Yeah, first few years it was really difficult. I didn't really figure out until Arnold Classic. I made weight, but I was flat. But Arnold Classic 2000, that was 15. Yeah. When I won it, I first time with Patrick, I made balance of fullness and weight.
Was it easy to prep, Iris?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. I mean, Hide is like a machine. He's gonna just do what he got to do and not question it or have excuses. It's just like get up, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. Just right in order is never a challenge. I mean, he's like a machine. Yeah. He never cuts off.
I remember Patrick telling me, because I came to your apartment in 2016, because Eduardo Correa was on the floor below, wasn't he? Right. Eduardo, yeah. And I remember seeing the kitchen, and everything was so organized in the kitchen. Everything was like OCD. It was so organized. And I remember Patrick saying, he says, Giles, he said, like you said, Iris, he said he's like a machine. He said, this guy is so disciplined. He said he's one of the easiest athletes to prep because he just does everything at the right time, and he's just no fuss. He just gets on with it.
Right, no questions asked.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I learned back in Japan Day.
Yeah.
And I'm not the big guy. Even in the open, I was in smaller side, but that's the commitment I had. I think the most. I think it's from my. Japanese mentality. I could do like a machine, it doesn't need. I didn't need to be really creative, but I was what I was told by let's say Patrick or Milos. I just did it. So.
Yeah. So what's with everyone moving to Vegas at the moment? What's the appeal?
I guess because it's becoming a mega, and not only is it inexpensive to live here, You can have your privacy, and you can also be all out and about. So you have a better choice of a lifestyle. And then you just have the environment. You have all walks of life here, and it's a lot different. The pace is different, and you create your own. And you have a lot of humble people in this area. It's not a lot of people full of themselves, but I think overall what brings a lot of people here is the lifestyle of being able to have a big home, comfortable home, and not paying so much, and then also enjoying other areas of life besides our fitness industry.
So Iris, where did you move to Vegas?
I moved from California, which is the best weather in the world, to here.
Very expensive, though.
Yes, very expensive.
Yeah. So you're definitely going to stay here for the foreseeable, then?
Yes, Vegas is home now.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I've been hearing about this new gym. Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure.
Come on, tell us.
So we started with a relationship with Powerhouse back in, I think 3 years ago. I don't recall correct, but anyway, we have a Powerhouse gym in Tokyo. Actually, I was involved in that gym for almost 15 years before that, but we switched to Powerhouse, family. Then now it's kind of booming, as well as in Japan, bodybuilding is getting bigger. It doesn't necessarily to be bodybuilding, but more like a physique type of, young kids want to be like physique, that type of physique. So it's booming right there. So Powerhouse is getting really good, and me and Iris, of course, involved big time in Japan. Before COVID, we go back there at least twice a year.
Okay.
Last year we didn't make it, but this year hopefully. But we just had a pro qualifier in Japan, and we had just 5 new pro just came up. Then this Powerhouse Las Vegas is supposed to be happen in last summer, actually. But of course, this situation, made us delay, and finally, it's actually just started construction. So we are hoping to open around sometimes end of March to beginning of April.
Do you know what? That's very fast, isn't it? If they just decide, they must work fast in Vegas. Because I was talking to Flex Lewis, and he says, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be open by in a couple of weeks." I was like, "What?" I said, "The last thing I knew, it was just an empty building." So you guys work fast over there.
Yes, we're very demanding. We want to get it going, even though COVID is still in place. We want to have a facility that's great for everyone. A lot of motivation, inspiration, and and we're going to eventually have a lot of different events, but it's going to be just like a hardcore bodybuilding in gym, which is going to be catering to all walks of life, though. But we have some great plans in place, which we're going to implement, and we're looking definitely forward to our opening.
Wow, it sounds amazing. Because I think Jay Cutler was the first really to move to Vegas, wasn't he? He was the first to kind of jump on it, and now kind of everyone seems to be moving there and opening gyms, and it just seems to be like you said, there's a better standard of living. You can have your privacy, but you can also be in the heart of it. Do you have any inside information on what's happening with the Olympia yet? Do you think it'll be brought back to Vegas?
Oh, I'm definitely sure. I mean, it's just so more inexpensive to have here, and you'll have a better, larger crowd if the COVID situation gets better. You just make a better altogether event if it's held in Vegas, because some people think this is like the hub, and it's such more easier to get better accommodations and also tickets for plane tickets and all the other things that's tied into one to get here. But going to Florida, it's like I don't think it's going to stay there. Definitely coming back to Vegas.
Yeah. What do you think, Hide?
Yeah, I mean, that's one reason I moved to Vegas, because it's Olympia here.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's coming back, sometime soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, is it the gym now mostly taking up your time daily?
Yes. We're busy because, we still have our cafe. We still run our cafe, which is doing very, very well. Good. Body Cafe. So we're really busy. We just don't have any time off. And now that we're opening the Powerhouse Gym, it's a lot of administrative work that we have to do. And the other people who are tied into the business with us, we're constantly on Zoom calls. And yes, we're very taken and still trying to exercise this. So early start, late night going to bed.
Yeah, I think I'm really getting a good feel for your work ethic and your organizational skills. I think you two are you really bring out the best in each other.
Thank you. We try. We don't. I think we think alike. We trust each other, and it's really no drama. We're the type of people who don't want drama, just want to have a easy life, and make sure that we're respecting one another, and that's it.
Do you train together?
We did. He trained him and Milos. Them train a lot together now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all over the place. I like to work. Oh, you might as well say I like to overtrain, but I like to do multiple muscle groups, and they're more of one muscle group, maybe two, with a lot of heavy weight. I don't really do heavy weight as much, but yes, I tend to train with him, but I'm not his main training partner anymore.
I think
they're crazy.
Yeah, that sounds of it. Yeah. Iris, one thing I've always noticed, even when the Olympia was taken away, I think everyone in the industry was always amazed at how you, like, some athletes, they just kind of stop training. They've got nothing to train. But you always looked like you were in striking distance when there was no Olympia. I just always wondered what kept that fire going to stay in like such amazing shape in the last 6-7 years.
Once you become the ambassador of a prestigious event, you are always looked upon. So you want to kind of set the presence and let them know that it's not just a one-day event that you look good. You try to hold that and maintain that year-round. Still enjoying life. Now, I'm not going to say I'm a hermit or anything, but you want to still enjoy life, but also have your body in a shape that can represent the sport.
Yeah.
So it was kind of easy. But and I didn't have any pressure. It's just a joy, a love. I love working out, so it's nothing. And I love cardio, so I can do 3 hours of cardio and not think nothing of it. Yeah, so it's easy.
3 hours in stage shape all year round. That's absolutely incredible. I'm trying to think of another athlete that's even. I can't think of anyone that has managed to just maintain that level of physique when there's. Do you know what I mean? Because like most bodies are very goal orientated. They'll. Like Kevin Navroni would be like almost like a normal guy, and then he'd be like, right, okay, I'm going to focus for 4 months and give it everything. And then after the show, they'd be like, they wouldn't go to the gym for 3 months,
Right.
But you...
That's not me. I would stress out. Drive me crazy if I didn't train for a whole month or 2 months.
Wow. Well, we're feeling it over here because the gyms are shut over here, so we're climbing the walls at the moment.
I know, I'm sure.
Oh,
that's horrible.
I think I have to get a flight to Vegas, I think.
Most people in here, I'm sure, they just built their own home gym because a lot of gyms here, they're open, but of course, it's still restrictions involved with the COVID. Yeah. So like we have our own gyms in the house, so.
Oh, I've seen Hide training in it, in the videos.
It's crazy. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. So going back to you, Hide, you were a co-promoter for a pro show in Japan, weren't you? Is there any plans to do any more pro? I know obviously everything with the pandemic, everything's gone kind of, topsy-turvy, but, have you got any more plans to do any more co-promote, any more shows, like actual pro shows rather than amateur?
Yeah, right now we have only one, I don't want to say only, but one pro show in November.
Yeah.
This year will be November 14 and 15, I think 14 and 15, that weekend. Mm-hmm. We have Olympia Amateur. Then next day will be a Japan Pro. 212 guys, men's 212, men's physique and bikini so far. We might put one or two another class on it, but right now we have those three the class in Japan Pro. Then another show we have in May. That's called Hidetada Yamagishi Iris Kyle Japan Classic.
Nice.
That's just a pro qualifier, not the pro show. Then, like I said, we just had like last weekend. Night before Japan time, we had 5 new pros.
Fantastic.
Just came up, so it's gonna be another 5 pro in May. Then. Olympia Amateur, I don't know how many, but it's so many programs, so I don't even remember. But that's what we do right now. Besides those pro shows and pro qualifier, we have regional show.
Okay.
Which is just local show, right? Yeah. Local show like 20 or 25, almost every week somewhere in Japan. So that's it's called FWJ. That's a federation we have. We involve in Japan, so it's going really big.
Iris, do you enjoy promoting?
Yes, I do. I mean, it's great after the show, listening and hearing all the athletes enjoying, the event and saying this is the best event. I'm coming back. Oh my God, I can't believe how you treat us, because we're athletes, so we know how athletes want to be recognized. Rather you win, lose, or draw, it's just a good thing that you make every athlete who choose to do your show are respected equally, regardless if they win or not. So it's very entertaining and fun. I love it.
Fantastic. So you said earlier before that you're probably going to compete again. Come on.
It's got to be a blank there for right now. I don't want to get any hopes up and everyone say, I can't wait to see you back on stage. I just have to wait. I just got to let time be an essence.
Yeah. Plus, I think
I'll definitely let you.
I think the issue with your health, I think you got to, until you get the green light, and because do you feel okay, absolutely 100% right now?
Yeah, I feel my energy level is back up. Yes, I totally feel 100% different than when this first took place. It was like, whoa, I couldn't do nothing but lay in the bed. It was very stressful.
Yeah, wow.
It seemed like I had zero energy.
Oh, when you're on prep and you need that energy, there's nothing more frustrating than feeling lethargic.
Yes, it's horrible.
For a machine like you, I bet that's pretty difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very difficult just to be mobile. It's like, oh my God, what's going on here?
Yeah. So, obviously, you say you didn't watch the show, but what did you think of the Mr. Olympia? What was your take on Rami winning, Phil coming back, Brandon? What was it? What's your feeling?
Oh my God, I was amazed by the physiques of the guys, and the winner who won deserved to win. It was very. I had picked Brandon if they were going on the small side, and then of course the winner, without a doubt, if they were picking a larger guy, it was definitely they picked the right person. So they did their homework right. The judges did well.
Hide?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough contest for judges. It was great show for audience, us. Yeah, definitely. Judges did a great job. I was happy to see so many comparisons took place. Last couple of years, I was the one wanted more comparisons. When I
I've heard that complaint. I've heard people comment say there's not enough comparisons.
Yeah, I mean back in the day, before even my time, but it was prejudging took probably 2 hours. Round 1 and round 2. That was the IFBB before our time, right? So I understand we have more classes right now, so we don't have enough time. But our athletes prepare for this show for life. We put everything on it, so we deserve to be compared that long. It's hard. I mean, I could see because Phil and Brandon came out strong, but as comparison goes on, they kind of start fading. And Big Brother and Hardy, coming up strong. So it's you never know, because Ronnie, when Ronnie won, he was compared like I don't know. Miros says something like he was picked like a 10th guy, round one. Yeah. Can you believe it? Yeah, he was picked out, pulled out 10 times. 10 low. I mean, how you call
10
it?
10 times in a row?
No, I mean, 10th guy.
Oh, the 10th guy?
To be picked up.
Okay.
Yeah, so he wasn't in
1998 Olympia when he won, I think he said he was like 3rd or 4th call-out in the symmetry round. And then he said, and then he kind of then he was being compared with the top 5 guys, then the top 3 guys, and then he won it. It's incredible.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy they are going back to that route. So next year, this year will be more, fun for us. Like a competitor, it's hard, but for us, for audience, it will be really fun.
Yeah. What was it like when you saw Sean Clarida's improvements backstage? Because I can't imagine. It was a shock. It was a shock moment for me when I saw him. I saw the pictures. Right. I was like, "Holy shit!" It's like, "Wow, he's a freak."
Sean is always, he's like a little Ronnie Coleman, a little Rex Wheeler. So he has all these round muscle, small joint. He's just a little, scale down version of all these guys.
Correct.
A genetic freak, and he works hard, and He's humble.
Very
I see him, like a long time coming up, and he was in Japan Pro. I could see, he would take 212 someday, but like you said, it was shocking.
Yeah.
Then I was in backstage with them with Kamau. Kamau is bigger guy, like he's structurally bigger. So when I look at them in close look, I still thought, okay, Kamau was gonna take it, probably take it because he was bigger.
Yeah.
But at the audience, from the audience standpoint, from the audience and look at the stage, I mean that Sean's shape, just stand out. No one could touch him. That was hands down, 100% winner.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Right, Iris Carl Hidetada. I'm really excited for the gym. You're gonna have to get me some. What I'll do is I can when you put it on your Instagram, we'll bring it up in our shout out section, and we'll give some whatever, and we'll send you the videos, and if it's any use to you, and we'll just try and I'm really excited for this. It's really good. I think Las Vegas is definitely the right place for you guys, and it seems to be, you seem to be flourishing with your show promotion and everything else you're doing, and your cafe's still doing well. And I'm glad to hear that you're better now, Iris, because that was really scary, to hear that. It was it was real shocking. It was like when you pulled out, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, no. It was like,
yes.
Oh man.
It was very devastating.
Yeah.
It was like, what is going on? I felt like I was in the cloud and I couldn't see anything. But you have to always it was a hard decision. You have to always take your health, first. And then when you don't really know what caused it, it's even more devastating. But I think everything happens for a reason. And I'll say I'll scratch this up as something that God had in my path and move forward and make things even better, Yeah.
Health first, competition second, I reckon.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's you're someone I've always wanted to interview. I've interviewed you a couple of times, Hide, at the Olympias, and actually, Iris, you came in on the last interview.
Yes, I did.
At the yes. I said I can't stand here while Iris is studio and not pull her over and ask her a few questions. so yeah, it's a real pleasure to have you two on, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And I wish you all the very, very best with the gym and your health and everything moving forward.
Thank you so very much. Sorry for the delay.
That's okay. It's okay. Okay, thank you so much, and I'll speak to you very soon.
Okay, have a good day.
Take care. Bye-bye. And welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the On The Rise Media Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas. And with great pleasure, we have 8-time Mr. Olympia, Lee Haney. Yes!
Yes.
I got to give you a round of applause, Lee. Come on.
Thank you.
Lee, oh wow, I'm getting shivers, mate, because it's just you're like one of the all-time legends, man, and wow, what an honor. Thank you so much for coming on Global Muscle. I really appreciate this, Lee.
Well, it's a real pleasure. Well, thank you. And now, so you're there in Great Britain, right?
Correct, yes.
I tell you, it was a while back since I've been there. Matter of fact, my last tour there, I don't know if you recall Wag Bennett and Diane Bennett.
I know Diane Bennett very well.
Yes, love Diane. Matter of fact, they helped set up the tour. Mm-hmm. And I had a chance to visit Canterbury, Leeds, Yorkshire, I think Nottingham.
Well, we're in Yorkshire. We're about 30 minutes from Leeds in this studio right away. Yeah, no. So what was your favorite part?
Well, you know what? I would say London was very exciting.
Okay.
I enjoyed all of it. I had a chance to visit the Canterbury museum there.
Cathedral?
Yes, man, that was mind blowing. And I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, where this is the home of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yep.
And when I visited there, I saw this area that has been set aside in honor for him.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, wow, I'm on the other side of the world, and yet he's being honored all the way here. So that meant a lot to me also.
Yes, of course. And obviously being a religious man, I mean, seeing the cathedral and all the, the kind of the meaning behind all that.
Right. That was incredible. And I tell you, the countryside was just mind blowing. I love the beautiful greenery, the beautiful gardens and so forth. I didn't think too much of the fish and chips, though.
Do you know what?
It wasn't on the diet.
I actually, in 2011, I introduced Brandon Curry to British fish and chips, and he said it's the best fish and chips. And he said, "Where has this been all my life?" Dude, seriously. Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah. So, wow. I mean, I won't say my age, but by the way, you look absolutely amazing for your age, considering, like, I don't know your age, but you look bloody good, mate.
Thank you, man. I try to stay on top of it. I'm 61. Wow. I like to say 61 years young.
Yeah.
So, you know, I stay on top of my fitness. I keep the weight down. I do a bit of, my bodybuilding science. I do at least 3 days a week, but then I also incorporate what is called functional training, which is a style of, using your ropes and medicine balls, more functionality to help manage the age. So I do a combination of those different type of trainings, not as heavy. So as a result, I've been able to, maintain good flexibility in my joints, and I don't have any joint problems, any of those kinds of things, because as we age, we realize that we all lose a certain amount of bone loss.
Of course.
So we got to be careful and smart in our approach to training.
So has Dorian copied you with the old functional training? Because I've noticed he's been doing a lot of that in the last couple of years.
Who's that?
Dorian Yates is doing a lot of functional training. Has he copied you?
Well, you know what? I noticed Dorian's been doing a lot of cycling too.
Yeah.
And all of that is good, man. At the end of the day, when we were gladiators on the stage, we did crazy things, Yeah. And that's how you term it, gladiators.
Yeah.
Because we did things that didn't make sense. Dorian probably did more things that didn't make sense than I did.
Yeah.
My philosophy has always been stimulate, not annihilate.
Yep.
Of course, his era was used a lot more weight heavy type of training. My era, I was more in the line with Robbie Robertson, Arnold, that type of training, which as a result, I have no knee, no hip, no back, no tears, over the years. So I think my training philosophy has served me well.
Yeah.
Where I am now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that blows my mind the most. In 1983, when you got third place at Mr. Olympia, you were 23 years old.
Right.
So you were 24 years old when you won your first Mr. Olympia in 1984. That was not Madison Square, was it? No. Where was 1984?
No, that was, well, you know what? It was there in New York.
New York.
It was at Madison Square.
Oh, I was right. Okay. Yeah. So
that's right.
What was that like going? Because you turned pro at the 1982 Nationals, and then by 24 years old, you've gone from turning pro within 2 years to winning the Mr. Olympia in a very competitive era. I can't imagine what that was like being so young and being so good so quick.
Well, it's amazing. I started weight training when I was 10 years old.
10 years old.
10 years old, my parents bought me a set of weights and everything I could get my hands on in the way of training, technique, nutrition. I would read it and study it. Whatever Robbie Robertson would write about, Arnold or Frank Zane or Franco Colombo or, Boyer Cole and, Mike Mincer, Roy Callender, Albert Beckles, Muhammad Makawi, all of these different tools of learning or schools of learning from all of these great Olympians made Lee Haney what he is today, but also gave me an incredible foundation.
Yeah. So
that as I moved forward in my training from a youngster, that I was able to accomplish things on a whole nother level earlier because of being a good student of bodybuilding. I won what is called the Mr. South and the Mr. Palmetto at the age of 18. And I competed against guys that was 30 and 40 years old and beat them.
Yeah.
So from the age of 10, 11 years old, all the way up to, 17, 18, that gave me a good amount of time to mature in that particular type of training because training philosophy is the key to muscle maturity.
Yeah.
And building density and quality in the muscle, not 8 million pounds, but consistent training with the right type of training. And so I learned a lot and I was a good student And, that makes all the difference. Being a good student of learning, as you get the right information, can determine how long it takes you to reach a particular goal.
That sounds very interesting, because Dorian Yates said before he even started weight training, he spent like a year reading and researching, whereas most bodybuilders it's through trial and error and experience and time served in the gym that they learn, trial and error, literally. And you're the same. You're somebody that said, no, I wanted to really like study and learn all about the body and all the biomechanics.
Yes, that's and I attribute that to a lot of the incredible books of knowledge. You had Joe Weider's Muscle Builder. Yeah. You had Iron Man magazine. Yeah. You had Sports Training Illustrated. You had all of these go-to manuals that were more training oriented during that era, more so than advertising as you see now. Yeah. So that made a huge difference in my reaching my goal and getting a very good education. So by the time I was 19, I won the Teenage America. Then by the time I was 22, I won the Junior Nationals, then the NPC Nationals. Then
82.
Went on to win my first pro show in 1983, which was there in Las Vegas, I think the World Cup. So it all came together very fast, and the same training tools that allowed me to reach that point such an early period of time, I was able to then move forward into Mr. Olympia competition. But of course, a tweak here and a tweak there. Yeah. Getting a little bit more information, particularly in the way of nutrition, how to carbohydrate load, carbohydrate deplete, how to give the body more calories and not be afraid of that. Eating was one of the things that I feel a lot of athletes were afraid of during that era. If you eat a little too much, then all of a sudden you're going to lose your edge. But that's not true. You cannot train like a horse and eat like a bird.
Yeah. I spoke to Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates, and they both cited you as their inspiration. Like when I was speaking to Ronnie on another show a few weeks ago, wasn't it? When he was talking about when he met you backstage at the 1991 Olympia, your final Olympia. Dorian said he really, really respected and admired you. Arnold looked up to Reg Park. Who did you look up to? Because at that early age, who was your inspiration at that time?
Listen, I was on the phone with Robbie Robinson last week, and I love it. Golly, Robbie, we're going to be doing a Zoom together or either Instagram together here within another week or so.
Fantastic.
But Robbie was. Man, at my home where I grew up, I had a picture of Robbie painted on my wall. I even painted a T-shirt, made a T-shirt with Robbie and wore it, with the arms cut out. I always wanted to look like Robbie Robinson. And it's amazing when I met him for the first time there at the Weider Center, Bill Reynolds, who was the editor-in-chief at that time, said, he knew how much I admired Robbie, and I had flown out to California for the first time. Joe Weider brought me out, under Bill Reynolds. And so Bill said, Lee, guess what? Robbie's here at the Weider Center. Would you like to meet him? I said, Robbie? I said, of course I would. And so he took me down to meet Robbie, and he was very nice. And as we were talking, he said, Lee, I never will forget, my wife was watching TV, and she yelled, said, baby, you got to come here. Come and check out this guy. He looks exactly like you. And so that was the ultimate compliment. His wife told him, begged him, come on, Robbie, check out this young guy. And so Robbie shared that with me and said, wow, he does look like me. Wow. So I've tried to my very best in the way of training to copy Robbie's form of training as relates to arm building, chest, back, shoulders, legs. I did my very best in duplicating who he is. And I've done a pretty good job, I think. Now, the biceps, I don't know if anybody got better biceps than Robbie Robinson.
Incredible.
No, everybody talk about great arms. I agree there's a lot of people with great arms, but Robbie have mountains.
Yeah, he did.
Robbie Robinson and Albert Beckles have the freakiest bicep that I have ever seen in my life.
I remember when I was, because I started following the sport in 1990 when you're just about to win your 7th Olympia. And I remember I was 14 years old and I was at this gym and I had a picture of Muscle and Fitness and I had a picture of Robbie Robinson doing a readable bicep. And I said to my friend, I think I might have even been 13. And I said, how long will it take to get like that? And he says, about 2 years. So by the time I was 15, I was fully expecting to look like Robbie Robinson. And I'm sorry to say it never happened.
Hey, you should find your friend and beat him up.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, he was a bit bigger than me at the time. I don't know. Maybe I've been training a few years, but yeah. So I mean, I started following the sport in 1990, and I grew up in this 13th century and with my dad. It was an old pub, and I had the biggest room in the house, and my walls were literally covered of pictures of you, Sean Ray, Berry DeMay, Bob Chick, Aaron Baker, Eddie Robinson. It was an amazing time in bodybuilding. That 1990, it was just, you and Lee Labrada going at it. It was because Sean Ray was also one of my favorites as well. So that was a really exciting time to be following the real explosion of bodybuilding.
Yes, it was. And that's what I love so much about our sport. It's a worldwide sport. It's a worldwide family. I think there's not another sport like ours. There's this brotherhood and sisterhood that we share together that's unlike any other sport.
Yeah.
I have friends around the world, Gunnar Rosebow, Barry DeMay, Rolf Mueller, and all of these beautiful people in all these different places, and the love of bodybuilding brought all of us together. And, the other thing that's so amazing is that the founders of our sport sacrificed a lot in order to make it what it is today. Yeah. And as a result, many of us are able to make a living, we're really living out a fantasy. We say, well, who want to be a muscle man? Well, there's a lot of men that would like to be a muscle man. Looking like a muscle man is pretty cool stuff. Yeah. And now we can get paid for being a muscle man because people want to know, how do I stay healthy? How do I stay fit? I would like to look better. And so as a result for that, it has opened up opportunities for having your own fitness center, personalized training. I have a certification program, you see my logo, called the International Association of Fitness Science. So I certify people who want to become personal trainers. Okay. I also have my own vitamin company, Lee Haney Nutrition. I have a mentoring organization called Haney's Harvest House.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of different things that I've been able to accomplish because of the sport of bodybuilding and because of the foundation that was set and established by the people that came before me in our sport. We have the NPC, we have the IFBB, we have NABA started it all there in Great Britain.
Yep.
So before there was IFBB, there was a NABA.
Yeah.
And the history of that is just rich.
Yeah. So when did you first kind of connect with Joe Weider?
Well, I mean, golly, man, since I was a kid.
Wow.
I think anybody that wanted to be in the sport of bodybuilding, particularly during my era, during Arnold's era, everyone wanted to connect with Joe Weider. Yeah. And once I entered and won the NPC Nationals and the IFBB World Championship, which was held in Belgium, 1982, Bill Reynolds called me and said, Lee, Mr. Weider would like to fly you out to California to visit the Weider Center and to talk to him and take some photos. Yeah. And man, to get that news, man, that's mind blowing. As a youngster growing up, wow, Joe Weider, oh man, everybody wants to be with Joe Weider, wants to be under contract with Joe Weider. And so that opportunity happened, and man, there I was. So that's how it all began. And Mr. Weider, Joe was an amazing man. You have Ben Weider, then you have Joe Weider. Joe had a love for bodybuilders and bodybuilding that was absolutely incredible. When you looked at the latter years, prior to Joe's passing, you had so many of the bodybuilders coming forth with these testimonials of how Joe spent time with them, and how he showed them, bits of posing and this and that and the other. And I mean, it's like, I was like, wait a minute. I thought I was the only one. Then you hear Sean Ray. Sean Ray said, oh, he deals with it. Then you got Ronnie Coleman. Then you got all these guys. And I mean, wait a minute. He was there for everybody, and gave us an equal amount of love and attention. I remember working with Joe sometime prior to lunch. Mm-hmm. He had me in his office, helping me with posing, transitioning, that sort of thing. Lee, you got to make sure your waist looks small. Suck in your abs, you make sure you flex the lower back, and, he work your tail off in his office. Yeah. Then, then we'll take me to lunch with him and that sort of thing. So it was a beautiful thing, and he was a beautiful person. Meant a lot to my life. And one thing that Joe said to me too, when I first went out to California, he said, Lee, I would love for you to come out and train under me. And he said, now, is there a girl in your life that you're crazy about? Said, yeah. I said, yes, it is.
Yes, there is.
And that girl is my wife, Shirley. He said, well, Lee, it's important for a young man to have a good foundation to be established. Mm-hmm. So if you want to bring her with you, I'll make sure she have a job here at the Weider Center, and I'll take care of the two of you. Yeah. And that meant a lot to me. And it's 38 years. I've been married to that same beautiful girl. Yeah. And so he was that kind of person, that kind of man. I've had lunch with him and his wife, Betty, so me and Shirley was welcome and invited into their home. So Joe meant a lot to a lot of people and to our sport.
I had Samir Banu on a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying it used to go running with Joe a couple of times a week and go out for lunch, and they'd sometimes have the odd little fight. And he said, but they always had that mutual respect, and because obviously the love of bodybuilding kind of brought them together. It was a very special time in bodybuilding when Joe was at the helm, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was. And there'll only be one Joe Weider. Yeah. Time and history makes one. Yeah. It doesn't duplicate. You can have someone else that comes along, but they're a little bit different. And all of us are unique in our own ways. There'll only be one Joe Weider. Yeah. And only one Ben Weider. You look at the IFBB, how it was established all over the world. Think about how many plane trips Ben had to make and how much diplomacy was needed to create that organization. To be over 140 now, I think 190 countries. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. It's amazing, absolutely incredible. I mean, over 100 countries, right? Because I feel like I know you and Shirley because I was following you guys from like 1990, and my being a fan has kind of grown into my life as my career. It's 90, that's 31 years ago now. So I've followed all your Olympia wins, and I've always felt that 86 was the one. Because you always said that 91 was the one that you really went all out for, and you kind of came in your biggest and your heaviest. You were like breaking 250 pounds. But I always felt that 86 look, I think, was probably one of your best ever. What do you think?
86 was where?
It was Gothenburg was the year before. No, the Sweden was the year before. That was when Barry DeMay made his debut, and Rich Gaspari started to hit the ground running. But 86, that was, I don't know where it was, but I remember just seeing the pictures and thinking, that's comparable with 91. You were huge.
Yeah, 86, each year brought something a little bit different. Yeah. I know 85 was in Belgium. It was in Belgium. 86
87 was Sweden. Where was it?
You say 87 was Sweden?
No, 87. Yeah, 87 was the funny the grid background. 85 was 85. I remember the show because I used to have Belgium. Right, that was Belgium because they had. Oh, there's someone calling you again.
I got them all.
Tell them to come back. Yeah, but that 86, I remember seeing the photographs from that, and I'm thinking that's comparable with 91.
It's something. I think. Well, I said 91 was the easiest because
easiest.
But I would say again, a lot of people said I was the best at that one. I thought Sweden.
Yeah.
I thought that was. I think was that 86?
No, 87 was Sweden. 87 was definitely in Europe because I remember Mike Christian was in that one, 87. Lila Brada was in that one. Rich Kaspari, obviously second place too, 86 to 88.
That was Columbus, Ohio, I believe.
Columbus, yes. Yeah, that's, process of elimination. Yeah, but I don't know whether it was just the lighting or whatever, because obviously 5 years on, I mean, you really pulled it out the bag for 91. I mean, fair play. And that was such a drop the mic moment. And to end your career at age 31, with 8 Olympia titles and just go out with your best ever look. I think that's something that's never really been done before, because just as athletes get to their best, they think, well, I'll just keep going. I'll keep going.
Well, what was different about the last one was I stayed on a system called the 3-on-off-1.
Okay.
Generally, what I would do was stay with 3-on-off-1 all the way to about the last 6 weeks before the show. And then I found that the last, I guess for each of the other 7 Olympias, that my legs still looked a little fatigued all the way up until the last 2 days before the show. And I would always hope and pray that they came in just right.
Yeah.
And what I found out what was happening, they had that fatigue look about them because I haven't given them enough time to recover.
Okay.
Because the straight 6 meant that you was training more often.
Yeah.
And you can't train a leg more often because it takes more time to recover because of it being a larger muscle group. So by staying on 3-off-1 the whole time, which was different, I took a chance. I said, listen, I look great on 3-off-1, so if it's not broke, let's not fix it.
Yeah.
In all the previous years, I had a habit of the last 6 weeks, I would go to a straight 6 because you want to be extra ripped. You want to do extra. Next thing you know, you end up overtraining.
You're overtrained, yeah.
Particularly with the legs. Everything else recovered, the upper body, because, you got a bicep, then you got a back, then you got shoulders. You got these smaller body parts that you're training. But legs is one big mass.
Yeah.
And it takes longer for them to recover than it would a chest, a bicep, arm, or shoulders. So by staying with the 3-on-off-1, it gave everything additional rest, and the legs never went away. They never got fatigued.
Okay.
And so I said,
so
the last show, I did it just right.
Last show. Because your legs, your quads in that one was so crisp and separated and full, and like there was because your upper body, your chest and back was just, it was out of this world. Your waist was always tiny, like a little wasp, but like you said, your legs. Just that, but that 91, it was like you just really brought together everything in perfect harmony. You were big, full. I mean, it was just such an incredible thing to go out at your best and then to call it a day. That must have taken a lot of confidence to knowing when you finally started to bring what you really felt you could bring to then just call it a day. Was it what was the reason?
Well, you know what. First, I started out saying, God, to win the Olympia one time is a miracle, which it is.
Yeah.
You got guys that has never won it that I watched, as a youngster growing up. Then, you win it one time, and then you have Frank Zane say, listen, if I can win the Olympia 3 times like Frank Zane or Sergio Olivier, wow, that's really pushing it.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. 7 Olympias like Arnold or 6, that was nowhere in my mind.
Oh, really, ever? Because the thing is, you were so good, so young. I mean, you were, you seem to have a very healthy approach. Do you not just think, well, I'm just going to keep winning this until I'm 35?
Exactly.
31.
So then once I made the 3rd Olympia, then I said, well, maybe I can do 5.
Okay.
Because Frank Zane, Sergio, neither one of those had done 5, at least to be closer to Arnold.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I get to 5. And so I say, well, okay, now this is,
Yeah.
And I feel good. I'm healthy. I'm young. So, and I still have the fire and the desire. So, hey, let's push. Let's push to 6, and then let's do 7.
Yeah.
And once I got to 7, I said, wow, that's a record in itself. No one has ever done 7 consecutive Mr. Olympia.
Exactly, because Arnold did 6, and then he took 5 years off, and then so he didn't actually get 7 consecutive. So when you got 7, you'd already broken the record.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I had conversations with my wife, and you know, you have to know Shirley, you know, we came up together. She was my 2nd grade sweetheart.
Yeah. And
then we played sports together in high school. She was the captain of the sports club. I was the vice president.
Okay,
so
wow.
She's the president. I was the vice president. Go figure.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so, you know, she's been an athlete and a jock all of her life.
Wow.
So I have a discussion with her. I said, well, you know, baby, you know, 7 Olympias, nobody have ever did that before. That's a record in itself. I said, well, what do you think about that being it? She looks at me and said, what are you talking about? You gotta do another. What's the matter with you?
Really?
Listen, I almost embarrassed me. I was ashamed I even mentioned.
You gotta do it. You got to. Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah, yeah.
I said, okay. That's all I need.
Wow.
So, man, there you go. And so that 8th one, I knew that was it. Because I tell you, the 7th one, after that 7th of Mr. Olympia, I woke up, man, a couple of days after the show, my whole body was hurting. I mean, like everything hurt, my joints, everything hurt. I didn't know that I would able to physically go on. I didn't. You know, it was like, well, what is happening here?
Mm-hmm.
And so after a week or so, I went to what is called I call it a 3-day power circuit.
Yeah.
Where you're training each body part once a week. Like Monday would be chest and arms. Wednesday would be legs. Friday would be back and shoulders. Of course, calves and abs went with each of those days too. But the other days in between would just be some speed walking, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Just to give my body enough time to recover. And after 2.5, 3 weeks of that, man, I was like brand new. I felt good. I felt energetic. Wow. And then I also detoxed my body.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, which is the reason why I created what is called the Lee Haney 7-day systemic cleansing and detox system. That's one of the first products ever introduced to the bodybuilding community of that type.
Yeah.
So it cleansed my liver, my kidney, my bloodstream, my urinary system, my colon, and all of that, just fruits and vegetables, beans, those kind of things for 7 days in a row. And I felt so refreshed and brand new.
Yeah.
So
sorry, this was physical. This was from food, not supplementation. This was from a plan of food.
This from food.
Oh,
vegetables,
wow, okay.
fruits, plenty of water for 7 days in a row to clean the liver, the kidney, the bloodstream, urinary system, and the colon, using herbs like milk thistle, burdock root, red clover, African bird seeds, all of those different things to fully clean the body out. And man, I felt so energetic after that. And so I was ready to get back into the game again and begin my training. So I went back into my 3-on-off-1 after that 3-day power circuit.
Yeah.
And that's why I recommend with all athletes, when you finish up that competition training, you got to break it down and give yourself a rest, which I talk about that in my certification program.
Yeah.
You got to know how to change gears. If not, you're going to do yourself a lot of harm.
So after the Olympias, I know that, say, Sean Ray, Kevin Navarone, Ronnie Coleman, they would sometimes I've heard them not even starting training till the Olympias in September. They wouldn't even start training again till January. How long did you take off after each Olympia?
I generally would go for maybe a week, if a week.
Wow, okay.
But see, I'm not using the same amount of weight.
Okay.
And I'm doing 3 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday because for me, once you finish the competition, you got guest appearances waiting on you.
Yeah.
You can't show up fat, so you can't just not train because bad news travels fast. Particularly show them look like Porky the Pig. So
Porky the Pig.
So you don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So you're careful in making sure that you train because what we did, I used what is called carbohydrate loading.
Yeah.
Which means when you carbohydrate load, the cells is full for a certain amount of time before it spills over between the muscle and the skin. Once it spills over, you can get this bloated look.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful that you curtail that down and know how to handle that properly.
Yeah.
I mean, during my early days as a junior, when I won the NPC Junior Nationals, you know, I picked up about 15 pounds in 1 week.
Yeah.
You know, fluid retention, all of that, being an amateur and not knowing any better.
Yeah.
But as I progress over the years and knowledge, I never allowed that to happen. And one way to prevent it is not to just sit on your butt for 2 weeks and do nothing. I mean, that's not good at all. Your body will end up, you know, being filled with waste, and bloat.
Yeah.
And I was careful also not to just go get a hamburger and a milkshake and garbage. I don't eat that way anyway.
Yeah.
So why pour that type of waste into your body, which ends up creating joint discomfort and those kinds of things.
One thing that's always, because since the addition of the classic class, the introduction into bodybuilding, I remember asking someone and I said, look, your ideal classic physique, is it like a, you know, because people said, oh, they want like Berry DeMay 88 look. They want, you know, and someone said, oh, well, I think the perfect embodiment of a classic physique was Lee Haney. And I was like, well, how can that be? Because Lee Haney was by far, he was the mass monster of his era. 84 to 91, you were competing at 240, 250. Remember the weigh-in at the 88 Olympia? There was guys like 188, 190, 200. So what's your feelings on the classic class being also a mass monster? What's your feelings on that? Because you were pulling vacuums at 240, 250.
Well, yeah, because my last Olympia, I weighed 254 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, we're still with a 31.5-inch waist. Exactly.
I think you and Brian Buchanan definitely had the biggest waist to shoulder, waist to chest differential.
Yes, and Brian, believe you me, man, he was in a class by himself. Beautiful physique.
Yeah,
and I've always admired him. But you know, I've always felt as a youngster, if I could put a combination of Robbie and Arnold height and Frank Zane's ability to display. Yeah. If I could come up with a combination of that, who's going to stop it?
Yeah,
that's classic on a whole nother level. If you can carry mass and still keep your shape, maintain a beautiful vacuum, the look of wholesomeness, then that's unstoppable. Yeah. And I was able to do that at 5'11.5", almost 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, you know, nature only makes these weird kind of folks, and I was one of them. You know, every now and then there's only one Arnold.
Yeah.
There's only one Franco Colombo, only one Robbie, only one Lee Haney. There was only one's Steve Reeves and Reg Park, only one.
Yeah.
So every now and then Mother Nature said, okay, it's going to be you. There it is. Nobody have what you have. You're distinctly different, like one Ronnie Coleman.
Yep. One
Dorian Yates. You know, I hear a lot of people say, well, you know, you had to do this, or you had to eat that, or you had to get super supplements. And no. Super supplements don't make you a freak of nature, period. If it was so, it would be 1,000 Lee Haneys, 1,000 Dorian Yates, 1,000 so-and-so, or 1,000 Muhammad Ali, as far as that concerned.
I don't know many 250 guys with a 31-inch waist.
That's weird.
It's mind-blowing, Lee. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Wow. So did your waist ever grow from, say, 84 to 91?
You know something,
half an inch?
Their hip structure is what it is. And that's a genetic blueprint. That's the way it is. My dad had small hip structure. You know, I never will forget, I was backstage, I had just finished doing a posing, and Jessup Wilcox was sitting there, and I walked back after that. And Joseph stopped me in my track. He said, Lee, he said, turn around, and he spun me around. He said, where's your hips?
Where are they?
He said, what is this? It's impossible, you know?
Yeah. Lee, when I was just after the 1991 Olympia, a few weeks after, Sean Ray did a UK tour, And I was 15 years old, and I asked him, I asked him about Dorian Yates, and he said, "This was exact words. I remember it very well. I think I recorded it on a tape recorder." And he said, "Dorian Yates," he says, "Man, I've got a feeling that guy's going to become a real thorn in my side."
Yes.
So when did you think this? When did you take notice of Dorian Yates, of how much potential he had?
Well, I took notice when he was standing beside me at the Mr. Olympia in 1991.
Oh dear!
And I said, "God," I said, "this guy is big.
Yeah,
he has very good proportion,
mm-hmm.
and I could also see then his physique. It was a young physique. Mm-hmm. When I say young, it wasn't quite as polished as mine because listen, I was, the difference in our age, I don't know, but I do know that I had been seasoned, more so than Dorian. I mean, listen, I'm training in California with Robbie Robertson and seeing Albert and seeing all these folks, Tom Platz. I got all of those the wherewithal as far as knowledge and being able to watch these Berto Fox. I'm seeing all those happening, and so that made a difference in my level of maturity at an early age.
Yeah,
and stage maturity.
Crazy.
So. But Dorian didn't have that.
Yeah.
But what Dorian did have is I look back on the pictures when he first started. Mm-hmm. As a teenager, he had great proportion, great balance as a teenager.
Yeah.
So he was God gifted with that. And so to add to that, once he did buy into the additional knowledge and information of training, nutrition, man, he went all out at it. And next thing you know, here he is. Mm. And becoming Mr. Olympia, I think now 5 times in a row, over six times in a row. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that maybe hampered Dorian from proceeding on is he had some tears. I think it's towards tricep.
Yeah.
He trained extremely heavy. That's not something that I did. It is not the school that I came from. I came from a different school, which is more reps, which is more squeezing, the mind and muscle link, a little bit different. Of course, I wasn't as big as Dorian, but because of my waist size and my overall balance and shape, I didn't have to be.
You were a classic mass monster.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, and also Dorian's motto was annihilate, don't stimulate.
Yeah.
He likes that.
Yeah, Hills and Ronnie, they thought a little bit different than I did.
Yeah. But wasn't it great to have, I mean, if there's one Olympia I wish I could go back and watch, is that 1991 Olympia. I mean, it's just, because you were just wiping the floor with everyone. It was almost like when Ronnie was at his peak, it's like, okay, who's going to get second? It was like when Dorian came along, I just wished I'd seen that. I mean, I must have watched the VHS tape 1,000 times over. I remember being 15 years old, traveling into Wales to get to the Weeder shop in Cardiff to go and get it. I was being the knocking. Oh man, that 1991 Olympia was something so special, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And to me, that was the absolute easiest Olympia for me.
Wow.
That I felt in my heart that I ever did. Number one, I wasn't stressed from being overtraining.
Yeah.
So the training felt good. My body felt good. Everything about it felt good. I mean, I didn't have any fear of Dorian knocking me off. I didn't think anybody could, period.
Yeah.
So
well, 8 Olympias.
I was full confidence with that in my posing. I used the music Excalibur, which, I mean, incredible. That's the music of all music.
Yeah.
Anybody can use Excalibur. You got to, I saw Dorian use a bit of it in his routine. You got to really have your stuff together if you're going to use a music
Lee,
like Excalibur.
Dorian posing to Conan, you posing to Excalibur. That's real alpha male music.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Alpha male, man, I tell you. It's like, this is like, and these guys, like, because all the other pros are maybe averaging 210 pounds. You had Rich Gaspari, Lee Labrada, Vince Taylor was coming up strong, and then you had these two huge shredded. Because the thing is, with Dorian, I think he had a very aesthetic physique. I think his physique came together beautifully in the compulsories. Like you said, he was very well proportioned. And for a big guy, you both had these superior shapes, and I wish I could have gone back and seen that. I'm like, wow, what an Olympia!
It's funny, in Atlanta, we had the Olympia here for about 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
And Dorian and I was backstage, and of course he was talking to me, and I was there to greet him, was talking, saying hello. He looks at me and said, "Lee, how would you like to have it one more time?"
Oh, Dorian said that?
I looked at Dorian. I said, "Have you lost your mind?"
Yeah.
I looked at Dorian. I said, "Have you lost your mind?" Of course, I'm going fishing, man.
Lee, actually, you just sparked a very funny memory. Remember when somebody came out? I think it was Gunter came out, and you said, and then David Darth was coming on, and you were emceeing. You were emceeing at the stand, and you said, "Now that is man's music, not this twinkle toe music." And then David Darth came out, and he posed to twinkle toe music. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. 94 Olympia, that was.
That was so funny. I remember it.
It's like, oh no.
I said, "Oh wait, twinkle toe."
Yep. Here he was, and he was smiling when he was posing. When he was laughing when he was posing to say, "Oh, thanks, Lee."
It's amazing. After 1983, I had. Let me see. Someone else is trying to call. Let me get rid of that call. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah, 1983, having placed third in my first Olympia,
yeah,
which was there in Munich, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
We were back at the after party. The promoter who did the show that year was Albert Busak.
Yes.
And everybody knows Albert.
Yeah, Arnold's friend.
Incredible man. He's done so much for the sport. Matter of fact, he helped Arnold a great deal when Arnold first came over to the U.S.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there at Albert's gym, the after party of the 1983 Olympia, and Arnold came over to me and he said, "Lee," me and my wife were sitting there. He said, "Lee," he said, "you look great, beautiful physique." He said, "but your posing lacks." He said, "You cannot hit the Mr. Olympia stage posing in that way." And he said, "Because for you being a big man, why are you doing poses on the floor?" He said, "You have to be big and take up the whole stage.
Yeah.
You got to do big poses, not little man poses." So I took that to heart. He said, and then he told me, he said, "Listen, get back to California," because I lived in California at that time.
Yeah.
He said, "I want you to come to my office. I'm going to introduce you to my posing coach.
Yeah. And
once you get to meet her, she's going to help you with some of your transitions, and then you go from there." And that's how that whole thing began. And so I was there, met Arnold's coach. Mm-hmm. He introduced me to her, and she worked with me, and the rest is history, because he told me, said, "Lee, once you get your posing down, you can win the Mr. Olympia as many times as you want to." And I did.
Your posing was just like the way you'd hit your front lat spread and your especially the frontal bicep with a little shrug, and the way you just hit the pose. It's almost like you were just like this. I can't explain it really. Larger than life. The way that, I don't know. It was very grand. The way you posed, the way you hit those compulsories.
Yeah, and that's what Arnold said. He said, "Man, you got to take charge of the stage. On the stage.
Yeah.
Nobody's on the stage but you. Take over. You got size, take over."
Yeah.
And that was the philosophy that I used.
Plus that frontal bicep, the way you used to do that, and then because you've got such a V shape, it's a real like wow, real kind of wow moment,
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to ask you, the 1992 Olympia, do you ever regret not doing that one?
No, not at all.
Really?
Not at all. I had gone as far as I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And it was time to move on to the next level in my journey. Yeah. I was a dad. I had 2 kids.
Of course.
My son Joshua, I think Joshua was 4 at the time. Mm-hmm. Olympia, it was her first. She was 1. And so I was excited about the next chapter.
Yeah.
And then using my Mr. Olympia success to plant seeds in other areas, business. I had a TV show on ESPN called Lee Haney's Championship Workout. Mm-hmm. Then I went into another show called Totally Fit on the Trinity Broadcast Network. Then Sports South and shoe endorsement, public speaking engagements all over the place. I was appointed chairman to the President's Council on Fitness
Wow.
and Sports under President Bill Clinton. So there's a lot of things that was happening that was occupying my time.
Popular man.
That I was excited about doing.
Yeah. Lee, when I was 15 years old, me and my training partner at the time, he was 21, we went backpacking around the east coast of America. And one of the first things I bought when I was over there was your Lee Haney gloves with a built-in wrist wrap. Oh,
I missed that. I'm sorry.
When I was 15, I went backpacking around America with my training partner, and we bought one of the first things I bought was those Lee Haney gloves and wrist wraps. Do you remember those? The leather gloves. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Lee?
I missed it again.
Okay. We can edit this.
Yeah, I hear you better now. It's just off and on a little bit, a little sketchy.
Do you remember those Lee Haney? Well, the Lee Haney, obviously, they're yours.
Oh,
the gloves with the wrist wraps. I bought a pair of those when I was 15, and I swear I wore those until they literally fell apart. I think I had them. I think I wore those for every training session for about 2 years.
Yeah, the Lee Haney workout gloves made by a company called Harbinger. Yes.
Bring those out again, because they were a glove and they had a built-in wrist support, and that was the first of its type too. Oh, bring them out again because they're fantastic, please, Lee.
Well, thanks. I'm working on something. I got a patent on one that's very unique. There's not another one on the whole market like it. I added another feature to that, so we'll see what happens.
Put me down for 10 pairs, please.
Okay. All right.
Right, okay. And also, we have met before, and I've met your sons, because at the 2010 Olympia, I was reporting for bodybuilding.com, and I was sat directly in front of you with the photographers, because I was taking photos. And I remember when Jay Cutler won, I thought Phil should have won. And I remember turning around, and you went, I heard you say, oh yeah, Jay deserved that one. I turned around and said, no, Phil should have won that one. And I remember feeling really bad because it was you. Yeah, I was like, I just disagreed with Lee Haney there. I feel really bad now. I said afterwards, I'm so sorry, Mr. Haney. I'm so sorry to your sons like that. Because you're like, no, Phil deserved that one. I'm like, no, you said Jay deserved that one. I said, no, Phil should have won that one.
Wow.
Yeah. So Lee, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I just wanted to go through those golden years for me as a fan, it was just an amazing time in bodybuilding, and there was a million things I'd love to talk to you about, but maybe hopefully we could get you on again in the future. But it's been a real honor having you on, Lee. I truly appreciate this one. This is another big one off my bucket list now.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it, and I always look forward to the opportunity to share information with the fans out there. I have a huge following there in Great Britain and also in Wales. So I'm looking forward to, we were working on setting up a tour and coming over before this COVID happened. Yeah. So we're going to start doing that again because we were talking about establishing the certification program there amongst some of the gyms and some of the bodybuilding promoters there. So I'm excited about that. So we're looking forward to it. And for the bodybuilders who are wanting knowledge and more information, we shipped several books already to England, Great Britain, and to, Wales too. Oh, wow. Also into Ireland. Okay. My new book, I would say new, is called Totally Awesome. Yeah. It's the first book I did as it relates to the style training that I learned from Robbie and Arnold and the different people. And Totally Awesome is so unique because it teaches proper training, proper technique, training systems, where I talk about the 3 on off 1, the straight 6, the 3-day power circuit. We go through all of those different things, carb loading, carb depleting. It's an incredible book as far as bodybuilding science is concerned. Yeah. So for those who may be interested in the book, all they have to do is go to my website, leehaney.com, and I'll personally autograph a copy, send one to them so they can go there and get that information. Oh, wow. Well, I actually organized the Olympia All-Star Tours. I did one with Phil Heath and one with Brandon Curry.
I did one in the UK with Phil Heath in 2019. I did one in 2020 in Europe with Brandon Curry. I took him to 3 countries in 7 days. So maybe we can, maybe in the future after COVID's kind of settled down, maybe we can collaborate and do something together.
Yes, let's do that. I would love to. Yeah. You know, as I said, I got a lot of beautiful fans there.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of great memories there. So I'd love to come back again.
I'm going to have to message Diane as well after this. Diane Bennett.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
I got a text. Well, I got a message from her a couple of weeks ago because I hadn't heard from her and I was starting to worry. So I sent a couple of different messages. Finally, she messaged me back.
Oh,
and so
nice.
I'm glad to know that she's doing well and in great spirits.
Yeah, I went to a house in it was in 1999. I went to a house and she showed me she's got like a bit of a mini Arnold museum with some of the equipment he used to train on when he was living in the UK. And I was just like, oh, this is awesome. I love it. She's so lovely. I love Diane. She's she's a real treasure. So Lee Haney, thank you. I don't want to take any more of your time. Please give a big hug to Shirley because, like I said, I feel like I know you. I've known you two for 30 years. You've never met me, but I've known you for 30 years. So I feel like we're family already. So thank you so much for coming on, and I really appreciate the time.
Thank you. God bless you, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee.
Hey, and you can use a better cameraman next time, okay?
Yeah, of course, yes.
You know, I had to get you back there. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Lee. Thank you so much.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, it is shout-out time for Season 4, Episode 8 of MD Glove Muscle. Who do we have first? In the interests of Age Before Beauty, I'll go first. Lauren? Obviously, sorry, I forgot to say that Lauren's actually joining me in on these shout-outs. So we're going to... What? Between the three of us, we're going to share the shout-outs. So... Because to be honest, there's not been much going on Instagram this week, so we've struggled to find anything of any note. So I want to give Patrick Tour, the amazing, probably one of the coaches of 2020, even though he's been around many, many years. Patrick, very, very good friend of mine, 143,000 followers, one of the world's most respected coaches. And he's doing some fantastic work in the industry. Big news was that he joined Yamamoto this week. He's working with Yamamoto now. Should we put some sound on that? Is there sound on it?
At the bottom.
Oh yeah, sorry. Need my glasses, love.
With one of the leading supplement brands in the industry today, Yamamoto Nutrition.
Nice.
We have so many projects ahead for this year and for the coming years.
Okay, we get it. Yeah. So because he's talking. Obviously, with the news was he's joined Yamamoto, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. So it's good to see good people collaborating. So what do you know about Patrick?
Okay, so I know a fair bit. So I know he coaches James Hollingshead.
Yeah.
He coaches that kid that you interviewed. Or the guy that you shouted at. I can't remember his name. Yes.
He preps Florian Poisson from France.
Yes.
The kind of the Dennis Wolf lookalike.
Uh-huh.
He preps this guy, Sean Smith. Now, they've not been working together very long, but I'm seeing huge differences in Sean Smith's physique. Sean Smith we had on Globe Muscle. I mean, look at the depth of his shoulders. You can see to his head. And there's no head shrinking going on there like we saw the other week, Carly?
Oh, my gosh.
Do you know that's a trick a lot of photographers, well, not a lot, but some photographers use when they Photoshop, like front covers.
Uh-huh.
They won't Photoshop the bodies, but they make the head smaller to make the body look bigger.
That's terrible. That's a terrible idea.
Do you think that's okay? Do you think, I would...
No, I don't think you should make anyone's head look smaller just to make a body look big.
Yeah, but when you see the photo, like on these thumbnails, the bullshit thumbnails, and you see that they've adjusted the muscles and stuff, it's like that's blatant cheating or making the waist smaller.
No, I don't agree with that at all. If you're a professional bodybuilder, you shouldn't really be using filters unless you really had a bad night.
No filters?
Well, fewer filters.
I've seen you use filters.
I use a few filters, but I don't use them like all the time. Okay, I don't use them on my body, especially on my check-in photos. And I would never adjust my body for...
Right.
I don't think anyone should do that.
Do you remember that guy? I don't follow the Insta wankers, but this guy... Sorry, that's what we call him, technically. There was a guy and he was like an Instagram... can't say it any other way. You know, an Insta famous. I hate that. And he was, he got caught out for blatantly photoshopping his waist. He made his waist like 25 inches when it was like 32 or something. So, and he got caught out, and now I've not heard or seen from. So that's the thing. You're leaving yourself open, aren't you?
Yeah. And also, if this is your professional career and you are said athlete and you're busy doing that, you're making adjustments online, when we see you on stage and you're getting judged, and then you wonder why you're not getting the placing you should be getting, and people are wondering because you're no longer based on your photos, that's going to raise some serious questions.
Yeah, I always say, if you're going to Photoshop your pictures, make yourself look worse in your pictures, because you want to look better on stage. So if you're actually going to Photoshop or anything, make yourself look worse, not better.
Okay.
Because I've seen many, many competitors who looked absolutely phenomenal on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And then when it comes to it, you're like, oh, what? Is that the same person? I've seen it many, many times over many, many years. And it's always, I hate being disappointed. I like to be shocked and surprised, you know? But so anyway, Sean Smith being prepped by Patrick Tuer here.
Go, Sean.
Look at the size of him. I mean, God. Is that a pit bull on his shoulder?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he keeps pits.
Aww.
And there's a comment by some cool guy called Giles Tiger here. That is a lot of muscle. So it got 6 likes. That's more than I get on my booty pics. Just a lie, I get hundreds. Right, okay, here's Patrick back in the heyday. But a lot of people don't realise Patrick Tuer is actually an IFBB pro.
Oh, cool.
But do you know what the problem was?
No.
He did Grand Prix. He said, I think his pro debut or some of the pro shows he did were when Ronnie and Jay did them at their peak. And he said there's nothing more disheartening when you're kind of, you think you're at the top of your game, or you're going through to the next level, and you're walking on stage, you know, behind Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler, like at their absolute biggest. So he said he competed for a few years, and then he just went into coaching. But Throwback Thursday to before social media. Yeah, but Patrick's one of the great guys in the industry.
He looks good.
Yeah, here's one of his new guys, pupils. Well, he's been working with what's his name?
Wow, look at his little waist.
Fran Barrios. Yeah, he's been working with Fran for a few years now. He's only, as you can see, he's got baby face. He's only in his early 20s.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But he says, I love this kiddo's physique. Very clean lines. So 2012. Oh, he's still not got his pro card. So he'd be a good 212, I think. Give him some time. There's
his wife, Muscle Bobby.
Sylvia. Do you know what? I'm not sure whether they've actually got married. I don't think he's ever answered me. But to Sylvia. But they've been together, I think they've been together 5 or 6 years now. And she does a lot of lifestyle coaching. There's James Hollinshead there. At 300 pounds there. This is him in the off season, because obviously James now is prepping only for the Olympia, because he qualified by winning the British
Alicante.
No, the Alicante prep qualified him for the 2020 Olympia, which he skipped, and then he qualified for the 2021 Olympia by winning the British Grand Prix. So he's just shutting it down now. But God, look at the size of him there. God, he's massive. He's tied that beard up a bit. It's a bit scruffy. Come on, sort it out. So So I mean, I feel like Patrick's finally getting the recognition he deserves. In the last, certainly in the last year, he's gone to next level now, and a lot of people are queuing up wanting to work with him.
Does he mainly train guys?
Yes, he has prepped some women, not many though. Not many. He doesn't like to prep women. And I know at one point he told me he had 150 clients he was prepping.
Wow.
But I think he's definitely reduced that now, because I think it was just too much for him. I mean, he didn't look too well a couple of years ago. And I spoke to him about it, and he said I was just working myself to death, because the thing is, he is so good at what he does. There's a lot of seminars, around Brazil. Doing some good stuff with Yamamoto there.
Very cool. Congratulations, Patrick.
Yeah, love you, Patrick. Yay. Get Kermit, please. So, okay, then we're going to go on to your shout out, Lauren. Can you tell us about this?
Okay, so this new Instagram page is called Wellness Worldwide Physiques. And basically, as you guys know, wellness is coming into the Olympia for the first time this year. And my wonderful friend, Robert Phil Wellness, has got a lot of ladies who are going in, and basically this page is basically promoting everything wellness and all the beautiful women that are competing in all the pro shows. And
do you know
that's Urishna.
Do you know this guy?
That's Urishna.
No, it's not.
Which one? No, that's Urishna.
Oh, sorry, is that his name?
That's a woman.
No, the guy. The guy. Hang on, let's go. The guy, the black T-shirt. The guy, that's Johnny Fit. There he is. This guy.
Oh.
Do you know that one? That's not Urishna.
That's not Urishna.
That's Urishna.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. This is Johnny Fitness. He used to work for the other side, and it's funny though. When I my first online show back in 2017, I sent it to him, and I said, "Mate, can you give me some advice?" And he said, "Yes." First thing, he says it's too long.
Oh.
That was 30 minutes long.
Oh.
And then I went to my next show, which was an hour and a half long. And then I went to Globe Muscle. I think the longest episode of Global, I think don't think it was 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
But it was about 3.5. I think that's when we had like 6 or 7 guests. We went crazy. We went absolutely crazy. But yeah, sorry, we've got off topic. I've got off topic there. Do you want to tell us, do you want to pick a picture and just talk about it? Or
so basically, let's go to Giselle Machado.
I recognise her.
And she actually won Alicante, or did she win?
Or was it Romania?
Romania. She won Romania, and now she's qualified for 21 Olympia. But the main reason why I'm bringing this page up is that if you are in wellness and you're thinking about getting into it, then this is going to be a new published magazine.
Magazine, okay.
It's going to be a magazine, and it's basically everything to do with wellness. And not only that, but because there are slight rule changes, the MPC have actually said that if you're participating in a pro show, the top 2 placings will then qualify for the Olympia this year.
Okay.
So that is huge news to the change in the system.
Are you looking forward to the Wellness Olympia?
I am. Like, the ladies look amazing. I want to look like this in like 10 years' time.
Can you pick a picture for me, please?
Okay, let's have a look. Maybe just look at the pictures. It's fine.
Okay.
See, that is...
I know her. She's British.
Okay, well...
I know him. He's not British.
Well,
that's
Tyler
Mannion.
That's Tyler obviously making the announcement to the changes at the MPC.
Right.
About the wellness that we just spoke about. And
Can
then...
you tell me to
those are my
Oh,
shoes.
yes, your shoes.
Okay. So,
yeah, Buff Bombshell there. Look.
Buff Bombshell is actually going to be helping some of the women get onto stage.
Explain.
With Robert for Wellness.
Explain more.
So basically, he's got his House of Champions happening in March, and he's taking a couple of his Brazilian ladies, and they're going to be doing, 5-inch heels.
Cocktail heel.
Yes, cocktail heel. So he's going to be taking his ladies, and they're going to be going through a prep, and then they're going to be filming their show day, and it's going to be really big.
They wear those on stage?
Yeah, 5-inch heels. Some women wear bigger.
What if you slip on some oil?
There shouldn't be oil on stage.
Yeah. No, because some of his competitors, the oil strips off. I'm just, that looks great. Okay. Happy 1st of Feb. But right. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to pick one more picture?
Okay, let's have a look. Hey, there's my shoes.
There's your shoes again. Okay.
And Bikini Mama's
pick some legs and glutes, please.
I'm trying to find a lady that I know. There's so many ladies.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm going to keep scrolling until you pick one.
Angela over there. Angela to the left.
Oh, Angela Borges. Yeah, she's been on MD Globe Muscle.
Also, I think coached by Robert Phil, and she looks great. So, yep.
She's cool. Right, okay, yep. So give them a follow. Now, I would not recommend you buying this magazine in front of MD, but if you want to buy it as well, then that's fine. That's fine.
It's completely unrelated. All about wellness. Though.
Right. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Tim Gardner. This is one of the world's most respected pro league show promoters. Tim Gardner. He's he's an Olympia judge. Tim and Eileen Gardner. They run the Tampa show. They run Chicago. Were they partners in Romania? Sure. No.
I think they did have a sign up.
Right. Yeah. No. I think that's more Jake Wood, Wings of Strength. But he's heavily involved with obviously the Wings of Strength. But I mean, God, this guy is his shows are amazing. I wonder if this one's his as well, because this one, was this the one that Puerto Rico? No, that was Dominican Republic. That was Victor Martinez's show. This is the Yamamoto Nutrition Puerto Rico Pro, Tier 3 for Olympia qualification. What categories?
Bikini, looks like men's physique. Bodybuilding.
Okay.
Doesn't like the bikini.
Next! Okay, right, okay. Oh, birdie. Okay, so I just want to give a shout out to Tim. Very, very good guy. Like I said it before, fantastic shows. And also happy birthday to Jim Mannion. I believe he was 70-something. This is the president of the Pro League. And I've just seen, Instagram was just awash with everyone, all the athletes and all the obviously very, very well respected guy. Since 2017, the old Pro League has just gone to another level now with terms of the shows. And also, the judging's better now since the split.
Interesting.
I'm telling you. It is.
Interesting.
It is. I don't have as many WTF moments or OMG or OMFG. No. What? Fudge. Yes, fudge. Fudging coconuts.
Oh.
Yes, that's how you swear, isn't it, dear?
Yes, I don't swear.
Good. Yeah, I have to double up to make up for it. Fudging coconuts. Right. Anyway, I just want to give a little shout out there to Tim Gardner. And also he organised he's kind of involved with Olympia as well, with the expo. And fantastic judge, good guy. TimGardnerProductions.com. If you're an amateur looking to enter any show and you see that name attached to that show, that is a show you want to enter. Correct.
Yes.
Yes, Lauren seconds that. Right, okay then. Let's go back to your shout out now, Lauren. This is Team Elite Physique. Can you explain who this is?
Okay, so Team Elite Physique is owned by Coach Benila, Coach Adam. And the reason why I'm shouting this out is because myself and Emma did interview Coach Adam a few weeks ago, episode 16.
Ta-da!
And it was very cool.
There you go.
Hey, that's
us. Hey!
And we learned so much. But in that interview, Coach Adam did tell us that he was
Turn the volume up.
doing his, or he was completing his.
Every year, if you really
Coach
want to
Adam?
see the trends, you got to look at
Bikini trends, you guys, very important. And he's also all about bikinis, so that's why, we follow.
Bikini sculpture.
Bikini sculptor, yes. But basically, he announced that he was opening his Vegas contest prep center.
Let's go to that. I saw this actually today.
And this is insane. He's got one in Denver, Colorado,
where
it all started. And now he's opened this one in Vegas because obviously he thought that, Olympia was going to be in Vegas and then they moved it to Florida. So maybe it will come back to Vegas. But I think this is a good move for him. So basically what they do at the contest prep center is that they do everything from coaching. They have a free gym, which you can go to. They have podcast rooms. They basically will have stores inside. They will have science-backed research about how, girls can get 3D scans and then obviously get their measurements tailored to certain categories and what they have to work on. It's really fascinating and I'm absolutely blown away by that part of it.
Cool.
So a big congratulations to Adam and his team because this is huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You had plenty to say about that one.
Yeah. I think it's
Why don't you just marry him then? Why don't you just marry him?
No. He would be like a cool brother to have. He'd be like a very cool brother to have.
Still don't get my sense of humor.
I don't get it.
Yeah, no. South African thing.
Oh, but there's Frida Paulson. He works with
Who's this? Which one?
Frida, bikini on the right. The big glutes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, that's some muscular glutes there.
She's a very muscular lady.
What category?
Bikini.
She's not bikini.
She is bikini. She downsizes a lot.
She should do wellness. Maybe. She ain't got legs and glutes like that. My God. She needs to step it up and do wellness. No, she looks perfect wellness. I mean, I don't know what her legs, how much of her legs would be left if she dieted, but maybe she went for it on the leg training. She'd be a great wellness competitor.
Well, maybe we can get Frida on one day and ask her, but
get her on Buff Bombshell.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
So that's basically it. And
You're
obviously,
welcome.
Coach Adam works with Ashley Coltwasser. He works with Anya Nicholson, Phoebe Hagen, Frida Paulson, lots of bikini women.
Team Elite Physique, 67,000 followers. Adam Benila, worldwide online prep coach. 13 pro wins, over 50 pro cards since 2000. BS Wellness? It's very rude. I wouldn't say it's BS. I mean, it's a new category. Give it a chance. Right, okay, we're going to go to my shout-out now. This is Jason Breeze, MD photographer.
Very cool.
Really, really good guy. He's photographed the Olympias, the Arnolds for MD, as you can see. Oh, I was at this one. Is this 2000?
It's
Hang
Jay
on.
and Phil.
This was, I think this was 2010.
Wow.
This was the one that Jay Cutler won. Phil Heath was second, but I had Phil winning this one.
It looks great. Wow.
I know, I had Phil winning this one. I was there. Lee Haney was sat behind me, and I had Jay fourth.
Wow.
I wasn't very, very popular with Jay fans. Let's put it that way. It's Kai Green, a shoot he's done. I'm guessing that was 2016, maybe. What's he got on his head? God.
I think it's glasses.
Oh, I thought they were goggles of some sorts. And also, the next edition of MD is the Big Ramy cover.
Big Ramy.
You like Ramy, don't you? He's cool.
He's cool. I like this guitar playing.
I hated that.
I thought it was
so
cool.
cringe. But good. Cringe is good. Cringe is good. When you're 289 pounds, you can do what the hell you want on stage. Yeah, no one's going to argue with him. So, so that's a really cool cover. That's actually not out. Well, I haven't got my copy yet, but I assume it's coming. It's coming very, very soon. By the time you watch this, maybe it'll be out. But Jason Breeze, he does a lot of the photo shoots in MD magazine. If you just click to that, Colin. Don't touch it. Don't knock it over. It took me a while. It took me ages to get that positioned. So there's Fouad Abiad there.
Very cool.
Nice shoot. Yeah, I just Chris Cormier back in the day. Oh, there's your favourite, Angelica Teixeira. Teixeira. How would you say it?
I say Teixeira.
What?
Teixeira.
You've just said it twice differently there.
Teixeira.
You said Teixeira too.
Teixeira.
Angelica. Olympia champion. She's won Olympia twice. What years?
Twice, 17 and 18.
Right, okay. 2020 was Isa Puccini, I know that.
No, she was 19.
Oh.
Janet was 20.
I was testing you.
Oh.
Sorry. Right, okay. So let's... hang on a minute. See, that looks like the same... it looks very similar to the 2002 British Grand Prix backdrop, which I don't think Jason was at. I was. That's the... So, I choose it. What the hell am I on now? Oh, God. I choose you. That's a Simpsons episode, that. Yeah, Carleen knows. Right, Dorian Yates. I think this was his first ever... Hang on, the first photo of any bodybuilder I ever shot.
Wow.
I photographed Dorian in 1994, right before he ripped the bicep.
Ooh.
And he was 290 pounds and he blew my mind.
Wow.
Completely blew my mind. And it was, so unbelievable. Was it 94? Early 94, early 94. Right, okay, so fantastic. The Dallas McCarver there. Sad, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really sad.
4 years ago now, that.
Yeah, that really shocked everyone.
He was huge, wasn't he? There was, sad.
Huge potential.
Sad. I think the industry took a real hit that year because that was the year Rich Piana died.
Yes.
Dallas McCarver.
Phil left the Olympia.
Yeah, it was. The industry took a lot of hits that year. I think it's taken it a while to recover actually. But anyway, so give Jason Breeze a follow. Only 4,800. Okay, photographer, videographer. I didn't know he did videography.
So he does our MD photos.
I think that's a Jason Breeze cover.
Jason Breeze, everyone.
Yeah, great photographer, great guy.
I'm a big guy follower.
Sometimes I ask him for images for my column and he always sends them straight through and he's a really nice guy.
That's cool.
So a colleague.
Colleague.
Yeah, you can say he's a colleague now. Right, okay, Colin, we're going to go to your shout out, our final shout out of episode 8, season 4.
A lady.
Who's this, Colin?
I can't read from here.
You can't read from here. You got the screen right in front of you. Put your glasses on. Jeanette IFBB Pro. Jeanette IFBB. It doesn't say a full name. That's really annoying when they do that.
Yeah.
Does she just want to be known as Jeanette?
Maybe she has a really hard name to pronounce or a very embarrassing name.
Yeah. Carleen, do you want to... I'm going to just look at a couple of pictures unless you guide me in which ones.
Oh, that's pretty.
Good V-taper.
Very cool.
Working on the X shape. Sorry. X, not V.
X frame. Ooh.
Okay.
So she's women's physique.
Okay. She's
I like her pants. Look.
I know you always want stage pictures, don't you, Carleen?
Yep.
So, that was Romania. So she competed only
2020.
a matter of weeks ago, really, wasn't it? God, it feels ages ago, doesn't it? When
does.
When was Romania? 3 months ago? What year
November?
What year are we in now?
21.
He did. Lauren, he didn't even know what day it was today.
No way.
He says, "What is it?" I thought it was Monday. I was like, "No, it's Sunday, mate."
I'm going to lose a day.
Crazy. Lockdown life.
Oh.
Right, come on, Colleen. Guide me. Come on.
Ooh.
Let's see the training videos.
Training? Which one?
Ooh. There's one of her legs.
She's got some rattled legs, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Training. You want to go for a training one?
Oh, there's video? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
I miss a cable machine.
It's really interesting. What? I think it's an old shot. She's a bit smaller there.
So 2000.
2017. I'm assuming that's when. Oh, I look Classic Europe. I was at that one, 2017. That was the last one that was with the Pro League before the split.
Oh, okay.
And Big Ramy won that one.
Very cool.
And he beat William Bonac, and I sent William Bonac the picture, and he couldn't remember what show it was from. No, because I had him on, and he said, "Oh, wasn't I third in that one?" And I went, "No, you were second." I said, "Really close between you and Ramy." He couldn't even remember what placings, and I reeled off all the placings of the show.
Wow.
Ramy first, William Bonac second, Sean Roden third, Rowley fourth, Nathan Diasha fifth. I think Max Charles was sixth, but I'm just showing off now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I love it. You're like a bodybuilding encyclopedia.
Yeah, I've been called worse.
I like it.
Yeah, I've been called worse recently. We won't talk about that. Right, okay. Anything else you want to say about this, Kalim? Anything you just happy to give Jeanette IFBB Pro a shout out? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she deserved it.
Yeah, cool. No, she looks great. She looks great. Oh, voice is going. Shit, I haven't done my first interview yet. My voice is going. Right, okay then. Yep. Thank you to Lauren and Kalim for the show. Sorry, chair's moving on. This chair's going to fall apart, you know.
I know.
I got to get the key to fix it because I think that would be that'd be a price. No one wants to see the chair fall apart and me make a complete fool of myself. What?
Nice blooper reel.
Yeah.
Nice blooper reel. Yeah, me in traction, like, broken neck. Thanks. Right, okay, guys. Big thank you there to Lauren.
Thank you.
Host of Buff Bombshell. Be sure to check out the next episode of Buff Bombshell, which will be episode 19, and then 20. That's the end of season 1.
Wow.
Yay.
Wow.
Adding sound effect. Yay. Right, okay then. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting MD Glove Muscle, and we are out.